Gary Holt leading the Norwich City side out, and it's a Norwich City side showing a lot of changes. And they're applauding the Norwich fans, and the City fans are showing their appreciation back. Lots of yellow and green flags being waved, and those plastic inflatable stick things also being hit together. That's supplied by the sponsors. The teams now, Colchester predominantly in white today, with some blue on their shorts as well. They're shaking hands with the Norwich City side. And Keith, we talk about pre-season and Norwich going through it unbeaten. Is that important right now?
It's always good to keep the winning habit going, but now when the serious stuff starts, you know, it'll count for nothing now. What happens over the next 94 minutes will obviously be a big part in seeing how Norwich do for the rest of the season.
And Neil, I mean, looking at that pre-season, those performances, that set of performances that Brian Gunn's men has put in, that can't do any harm in terms of this team gelling together and knowing exactly how each other works.
Well, absolutely. I mean, that was one of the features of the pre-season games. That, and Webby will tell you this. You try, you know, as coaches, as managers, you try and get a structure to your team so that they can gel in quickly as possible. And I think against Wigan last week, certainly the organisation was good, the discipline was good, and they caused a very strong Wigan side plenty of problems. And it was a tremendous performance, and you just don't want to leave too much of it, as Webby's just said, on the pre-season training grounds. This is where it counts now, and provided we can reproduce that today, then obviously we have to be confident that they can get the game won. But it's a season where, and we've just had a fantastic reception for the team, by the way, great noise from the crowd, and this is the place where they can effectively win promotion for me at Carrow Road, make it back into the fortress we saw sort of 4 or 5 years ago when they went into the Premiership. If teams come here fearing Norwich City, then it's up to Norwich then to go out and make sure there's reason for that. And we're happy with the team that's been put out today, Matt. You just want to see a repeat performance of the energy, enthusiasm, and as I say, the discipline they showed last week.
Keith, you're going to stay with us through the afternoon. Your prediction for this game?
I'm going to predict we're going to get 3 points.
3 points, so a win, but Keith won't go any further than that, but that'll do us nicely. We had a 3-0 prediction with John Day a little bit earlier on, but now the talking almost very nearly stopping, and the applause, as you can hear, carrying on for the Norwich side, who are having their photos taken ahead of this first game of the season. Norwich City against Colchester United. Norwich, after the trauma of relegation last term, looking to rise like a phoenix from the ashes and bounce back at the first time of asking. They're in League One. It's third division football for the first time in 50 years. You wouldn't know it though. Carrow Road is rocking. It's full. There's not a single empty seat in the house. More than 25,000 are here. Hope you enjoy the game on the radio with us this afternoon. Neil Adams is alongside Chris Gorham.
And before the League One action can get underway, the two sides have gathered around the centre circle at this packed Carrow Road, where very shortly they will be doing what everybody else will be doing up and down the country on this opening weekend of the Football League season, and that is remembering Bobby Robson. A week after he died, the former Newcastle manager, the former England manager, is about to be remembered at Carrow Road, as he will be up and down the country today by a moment's applause, and everybody inside Carrow Road, all of these 25,000 people, will rise to their feet and will applaud one of the most highly respected men in football.
And don't forget then England between 1982 and 1990, famously reaching the 1990 World Cup semi-final. And all around the world, please now an outstanding applause on the referee's whistle. A minute's applause for Sir Bobby Robson.
really was a measure of how highly thought of Bobby Robson was in the world of football, because neither Norwich City nor Colchester United like Ipswich at all, yet fans of both clubs happy to stand and applaud a man who was of course once an Ipswich Town manager. But we're about to get underway. It doesn't feel like the third division here at the moment. The Norwich fans have continued to back their side in marvellous numbers, but will this be the season that their loyalty is finally rewarded? The Norwich side, Michael Theochlitos in goal, back four, John Oxenabor, Gary Doherty, Michael Nelson and Adam Drury, Matt Gill and Owen Tudor-Jones in central midfield, Simon Whaley on the right, Chris Martin on the left, Wes Houlihan playing just behind Grant Holt. Here we go. Norwich City fans have had to endure a painful few seasons. Have they reached rock bottom? Is this the start of the comeback? We are underway in the third tier of English football in League One, and Colchester in their blue and white stripes, kicking from left to right, have won a free kick immediately, having taken the kick-off midway inside the Norwich City half. A word on this Norwich formation, Neil. It's not quite a straightforward 4-4-2, is it?
No, they've lined up 4-4-2 just at the start, Chris, with Houlihan on the left and Whaley on the right. Chris Martin down the middle with Holt, but expect to see Houlihan given licence to roam, and when he does that, either Holt or preferably Chris Martin will fill in on that left-hand side.
So we're underway, and David Fox floats a free kick into the Norwich City penalty area. It's headed away by Gary Doherty, the Norwich captain, of course, for this season. And another free kick given to Colchester. Norwich City starting the opening minute of the season on the back foot. They've conceded another free kick, this one just over the midway point of the Norwich City half. And maybe a chance for an early sighter at goal here for Colchester. It's a long way out, but first minute of the season.
Well, I'm sure they'll have a shot from that sort of distance, about 25 yards, maybe a touch more. But first minute of the season, golden opportunity to get a shot in on target.
And could this be an early test as well from Michael Theochlitos, the Australian goalkeeper for Norwich City? I think it's Hammond standing over it, the captain for Colchester. Right-footed, he's got underneath that one and clears it high over the crossbar, and Michael Theochlitos can just watch that one sail into the river end stand behind him, and his first touch of the ball for Norwich City will be a goal kick. The Colchester side, we should give you that: Ben Williams in goal, Mark Tierney, Magnus Akongai, Patrick Baldwin and Lee Beavers the back four, Simon Hackney, David Fox, Dean Hammond and Ashley Vincent in midfield, Clive Platt and Kevin Lisby up front.
Just going to say, was that? Can we say that was League One quality free kick?
Get used to it. We've got
20 yards over the bar, wasn't it?
We've got about 9 or 10 months of this to come on BBC Radio Norfolk. We will bring you every single kick of the season as Kevin Lisby breaks through for Colchester. They've started on the front foot here. A minute and a half gone. Vincent crosses from the right-hand side. It goes a long way into the Norwich penalty area. Doherty there and able to cut it out. And here's Wes Houlihan on the left-hand side for Norwich. Clears it upfield, looking for Chris Martin, who's beaten in the air by Okongai. And immediately the referee gives another free kick to Colchester. That's 3 they've won in the opening 2 minutes. This one for a push by Chris Martin on Magnus Akongai, the 6'3" big central defender for Colchester.
Yeah, they've all 3 free kicks given against Chris Martin as well. And I think a bit harsh there, the referee. Martin's got to use his strength, especially against Akongai.
Ball loose inside the Norwich half. Gill heads it forward, looking for Grant Holt. And Norwich get a free kick this time. A shove in the back of their new number 9, the big, powerful striker, Grant Holt, League Two's top scorer last season. We mentioned before the game, I think he got 28 goals last season in League Two for Shrewsbury. And when you bear in mind that Norwich's top scorer last season was Leroy Lita, who got 7 goals, well, that shows why somebody like Holt is needed for Norwich City if they are to make an immediate return to the Championship. Owen Tudor-Jones, 6'4" in the middle of the midfield there for Norwich, going up for a header. Colchester help it on. Doherty, the Norwich captain, clears it forward. Holt helps it on for Norwich. One for Chris Martin to chase, but the free kick has been given for a push on Holt. Just inside the Colchester half. An untidy start to the game. Plenty of free kicks early on.
Untidy, yeah. League One again. I don't want to mention it too much, but what you're looking for from Norwich is to not make it untidy, to get this ball down, get it to the players who can play, and start to cause Colchester problems.
Drury plays the ball down the left-hand side for Norwich, but doesn't manage to pick out a yellow shirt. That one disappears behind for a goal kick. We've talked so much about all the new signings out there today. Everywhere you look, there's a Norwich City player you don't really recognise, but we'll get used to them over the coming season. But what about Adam Drury, Neil? He's been here, or been a Norwich City player since 2001, but to injury, he's only played 24 games in the last 2 seasons, so it's a big season for him, isn't it?
It's a big plus for Brian Gunn to have a fully fit Adam Drury. Obviously, first choice, starts the season today, and all he'll be hoping more than anything is not only he plays well, but he stays injury free. As you say, he has had a lot of problems, but good to see him back in the starting lineup.
Almost 4 minutes gone. Norwich City 0, Colchester United 0 at Carrow Road. Michael Nelson, another one of the Norwich new signings, just clearing that one into the stands. All of the players out there on the pitch are wearing black armbands as part of the Football League tribute to Sir Bobby Robson, which is taking place all over this weekend, and I'm sure will continue as well when the Premier League season begins next weekend. Cloudy at the moment inside Carrow Road. Blue sky up above, but a few puffy white clouds just keeping the sun from view at the moment, which we're not used to seeing on the first day of the season. It's always sunny on the first day of the season usually. Long ball forward there from Colchester. It's picked up in the midfield, played up high over the top towards Kevin Lisby, who's beaten in the air by Doherty, but Lisby has managed to get to the second ball, gets forward on the right hand side. A bit of a heavy touch from Lisby, but he still has it. Lays it off to Beavers, who crosses from the right hand side. Theoklitos comes off his line, and the new Norwich City goalkeeper takes it confidently.
Yeah, good catch from Theoklitos. The ball's hanging in the air, never easy for keepers when they've got to come through bodies, but showed strength there, good presence and two good hands.
Well, another change I've just noticed about Norwich City's set up for this season. Brian Gunn, nowhere to be seen at the moment down on the touchline. He's sitting behind us in what we used to call Glenn Roeder's seat. He's doing what Roeder did when he was Norwich manager, starting off watching the games in the director's box. He's up there alongside Ian Crook, and it's Ian Butterworth and the goalkeeping coach Paul Crichton who are the visible presence down there on the touchline. But you can see that Ian Butterworth has a black earpiece in, so he is in contact all the way through with Brian Gunn, who's watching this game from behind us in the stands. Free kick to Norwich on halfway, 0-0, 5 minutes gone at Carrow Road on this first afternoon of the season. A goal in the Championship. Derby 1, Peterborough 0. Peterborough newly promoted, one of the teams taking Norwich's place, of course, in the Championship, and they've gone a goal down early on. 0-0 here. Here's John Oxenbourne for Norwich City. Forward to Whaley on the right-hand side. Whaley helps it on. Oxenbourne pace. Continues his run, level with the edge of the Colchester penalty area now. He's cutting in. Here is John Oxenbourne from the byline, gets it across, and it's stabbed away by Beavers, but picked up again by Oxenbourne in the penalty area. Out to Whaley on the right-hand edge of the penalty area for Norwich. High ball into the box. Beaten in the air is Chris Martin, but it falls nicely for Houlihan on the left-hand side. Just brings the ball under control. He's wide to the left-hand edge of the penalty area. A twist and a turn from Houlihan. Beats the defender. Gets the cross in towards the far post. It's too high for Holt. Might fall for Simon Whaley across the face of goal. Blocked in the 6-yard box and stabbed away eventually by Colchester. But that's Norwich's first attack of the season.
More like it. Good play from John Oxenbourne, who seems to carry on where he left off against Wigan. Bombing forward, completely outpacing the fullback. Got to the byline, just whizzed it across the face of goal. Nobody there for the tap in. And then on the other side, Houlihan twisting the fullback inside out.
Almost trouble at the other end there though, but Doherty gets a good challenge in on Kevin Lisby as he threatened to break through. Here is Oxenbourne for Norwich City. We've just seen his powerful best. He can do that, he really can, and Brian Gunn spoke to us after that Wigan friendly and admitted that he's a frustrating player at times, John Oxenbourne. You know he can cause problems in an attacking sense, but he so often doesn't in a game. Here's Martin on the left-hand side. He's done enough to win the ball back for Norwich City, a ball he had no right to win. Houlihan crosses in from towards Grant Holt, but he's just beaten to it by the defender, and the ball goes behind for the corner, and that one looks as if it was destined for the head of Holt, but Pat Baldwin knocked it behind for the corner.
Yeah, Norwich fans like what they're seeing now, these last 2-3 minutes. Lovely ball from Houlihan that time, driven cross to the far post, and it just looked like it was going to beat the defender, who did well to get a touch on it. Otherwise Holt was waiting to pounce, but good pressure from Chris Martin, not giving up what would have been a lost cause there, forcing the full-back to concede the possession and ending up with a Norwich corner.
Forward from the back come Gary Doherty and Michael Nelson, the two Norwich central defenders for this first corner of the campaign. From the right-hand side, Houlihan plays it into the penalty area now. It's too easy for the goalkeeper Ben Williams just to catch at his near post.
A little bit, it was a decent ball in from Houlihan. Just could have probably done with somebody in front of the goalkeeper then. It was an easy catch for him, but it was at the near post area. And there was plenty pace on it, just nobody to obstruct the keeper from taking the catch.
Colchester will have to watch out for Nelson when he goes forward for these set pieces. He scored on his debut for Hartlepool and Bury. His two other clubs he's played for in the league, looking to make it a hat-trick of debut goals this afternoon. But Colchester is attacking, 0-0 with Vincent on the right-hand side. Closed down quickly by Drury, the Norwich City left-back. Houlihan helps him out, and Matt Gill it is who clears the ball away for Norwich, but doesn't get a great deal of distance on it, and Colchester can build here. Good header from Platt into the penalty area. Doherty sliding in and clearing the ball away before Lisby could quite get to it. Houlihan now inside his own half with a neat turn, takes him away from Hammond, and he's played a ball over the top of the Colchester defence. Martin might just keep it in on the left-hand side here. He does, level with the edge of the Colchester penalty area. Chris Martin cuts in, now tries the cross towards the far post, but gets too much on it. It goes behind Holt and over the head of Simon Whaley, and out for a throw into Colchester in their left-back area.
A terrific skill from Houlihan again, midway in his own half, twisting and turning. He's almost too good for these League One players. Hopefully that'll continue. Hopefully he'll stay here with Norwich this season, because as you say, far too good at this level, and if you get him on the ball, he's going to make things happen. Lovely ball into Chris Martin then, twisting and turning, started the game well, Houlihan.
The first 9 minutes of Brian Gunn's rebuilding effort over the summer just beginning to bear fruit. 0-0 the score, but there's Matt Gill, one of those summer signings, playing the ball forward. That one hasn't picked out a yellow shirt. A bit of hesitancy about Williams, the goalkeeper there though, came outside his penalty area, and the ball did go behind for a goal kick. He was trying to shepherd the ball out for a goal kick. It wasn't going behind as quickly as he wanted it to, and Grant Holt very nearly tackled him and took the ball off him, but he had gone behind for a goal kick.
And every right to as well. The keeper's having a little bit of a moan, but if you want to try and just shield the ball 5-6 yards away from the byline, then centre forward's every right to go and contest it.
A couple of results from earlier on already in League One. Southampton and Millwall drew 1-1, and Gillingham beat Swindon 5-0. We talk about this weekend in the season, this time of the year, being one where all football fans are full of optimism. It's already been extinguished if you're a Swindon fan. 5-0 they've lost on the opening day of the season. 0-0 here between Norwich City and Colchester United in League One, but it really doesn't feel like League One with this 25,000 crowd. I think it'll only be maybe when Norwich start to go to these away games, these games at Exeter next Saturday. No, that's a mistake by Otsemabor. He's played the ball in for Lisby here. Lisby's knocked it over the goalkeeper, and he's going to score for Colchester. Colchester take the lead after 10 minutes at Carrow Road, and the 25,000 supporters are stunned. It was a horrendous mistake from the fullback John Otsemabor. Michael Theoklitos, the goalkeeper, really is giving him an evil look right now, because he gave the goalkeeper no chance. Lisby helped it over the head of Theoklitos and then couldn't miss, and it's a dreadful start to life in League One for the Canaries. Norwich 0, Colchester 1. Terrible piece of defending.
Well, he's completely got underneath the ball, Otsemabor, trying to pass it back to Theoklitos, and he's hit it really high in the air, and the keeper's then, he's got a quandary because he knows the ball's going to bounce high. He obviously can't use his hands because of the back pass, and I think he actually misjudged it anyway, because he's actually touched it with his hand as a last desperate attempt to do something about it. Only got a fingertip on it, but once it bounced over him, then obviously Lisby just to run the ball into the empty net.
And Kevin Lisby, the man that the Norwich City supporters love to hate after what he said before the East Anglian derby back in April, and then he backed it up by winning a controversial penalty in that game, and he's been the thorn in Norwich's side once again, less than 10 minutes into the new season. And John Otsemabor, we paid tribute to him for the way he started the game in an attacking sense, but that really was a horrendous piece of defending.
Yeah, just bad technique on the back pass. It's on his right foot as well. No excuse there. He completely got underneath it, and instead of hitting it back to Theoklitos, it's gone right up in the air. And like I say, then the keeper's got a decision to make, because he can't make it on the first bounce to go and volley it away. So he knows it's going to bounce high. Obviously Lisby knows that as well, and it's just a case of then can he win the header. But as I say, I think he misjudged the bounce, Theoklitos, because he put his arm up in the end, maybe even touched the ball, but it bounced over him, and Lisby just running around with the easiest goal he'll get all season.
So that early optimism, and the wind just taken out of the Norwich City supporters' sails at the moment. There's a bit of a stunned silence around the place right now, because it's Colchester in their blue and white striped shirts with the blue shorts and the blue socks, and it's their supporters that you can hear. They really are on top of the world at the moment, because Norwich City are a goal down in League One. They're trying to respond though. Simon Whaley can't control, and of course comes Okongai, the big defender for Colchester, and belts it into the stands for a Norwich City throw-in. Well, you just can't, all through pre-season and all that, getting players match fit, you can't legislate for mistakes like that.
Yeah, that's a bad error, simple as that, and not ideal. Certainly when Norwich had just got 5-6 minutes there, looking really good, looking positive. It's a test for them now, but you just got to get on with it. You're 1-0 down, nothing they can do about that now.
And Lisby has been played in again here by Clive Platt, his strike partner. Platt with the header on to Lisby, edge of the penalty area. He's turned Doherty, gets the shot in, Theoklitos parries it, and Platt follows it up, and it's 2-0 to Colchester. A dreadful start to life in the third tier for Norwich City. It's unbelievable. They're 2-0 down inside the first 13 minutes, and Carrow Road is silent apart from that little corner of blue and white. Speechless. Norwich 0, Colchester 2.
Well, they caught a little bit square for me at the back, the two central defenders, the 2v2, a little bit square. So once the ball's played in behind them, you're always concerned. And when Lisby cuts inside Doherty, it's a really tame shot. And Theoklitos knows he's got to do better than that. Should have held it, didn't held it, just parried it out to Platt, who's following in. And another easy tap in.
And all that pre-match optimism and quiet confidence has been blown away by a whirlwind start from Colchester. 2 goals in the space of 3 minutes. They lead by 2-0. And Norwich City, on the opening day of this new season, it was supposed to be a new era, they're going to have to come from 2 goals down. Whaley finds Otsemabor midway inside the Colchester half. He puts a cross into the penalty area. Holt gets his head to it, but can't direct it goalwards, and it's a goal kick. And there really is, the stuffing's been knocked right out of this Norwich City support now, because they didn't expect this. Even probably their worst fears were not 2-0 down inside 13 minutes.
Two poor goals for me. Certainly two preventable goals. The first one is we've just talked about, the high back pass, and the second one caught square, but even so, the shot's very tame from Lisby. Theoklitos should have held it. Could only just push it out to Platt, and another really, the two strikers, they've scored a goal apiece now. Like I say, they won't get easier goals all season.
I'll bring in Keith Webb in a moment, who's watching this game with us on BBC Radio Norfolk, but we'll just wait and see what happens from this free kick which Norwich City have won just inside the Colchester half. Owen Tudor-Jones putting the ball down, the Welsh international midfield player. He's going to play this ball forward for Norwich, high into the Colchester penalty area. Gary Doherty heads it across goal, but he's penalised for some pushing, and so Keith Webb. You've been a football manager, you've got teams ready for pre-season, and then it can all go wrong so quickly, can't it? How do you legislate for what we've seen here?
Well, to be honest, as a manager, you can't legislate for it. Obviously, the first goal is a mistake. I mean, the back pass wasn't the best. It was a bouncing ball, and the keeper's obviously in two minds. But when Kevin Lisby touches the ball, that's when the goalkeeper's got to come and collect it and catch the ball for me. And Neil's right, the second goal, the back four probably a little bit square, but even so, the shot was very tame, and you'd expect the keeper to certainly keep hold of that in them situations. And all the preparation and that goes out of the window. So now we'll see what the character of these players is really like, and there's a long way to go yet, so we keep optimistic, and hopefully that we can just ride the storm a little bit, gather ourselves together, and hopefully push on.
Keith Webb, thanks very much. He's with us on BBC Radio Norfolk this afternoon, former Norwich City coach, former Kings Lynn manager, and I dare say probably quite pleased to be out of management having seen what's happened here, because that's what it can do to you. Norwich City 0, Colchester United 2. We've played barely 15 minutes of the new season. Here's Gill on the right-hand side for Norwich. They're on the attack. Gill gets the ball back, crosses from that right-hand side. It gets a deflection off a Colchester player, headed away by Tierney at the back for Colchester, the left back. And now here they come on the break again. And again, it's this front two, Lisby and Platt, threatening to link up dangerously. But Norwich do get the ball back to Michael Theoklitos this time, all in dark green. Already beaten twice inside the first 13 minutes of his Canary debut at Carrow Road. Gill in the centre circle, strokes it to Drury, the Norwich City left back. One of the few survivors from that Norwich side that were in the Premier League, which seems many moons ago now. Houlihan back out to Drury on the left-hand side. In again to Houlihan on halfway. Tries to find Drury, who's made a run forward on the left. The Congai just about heads the ball back to his goalkeeper. At full stretch, the big defender who was with Dagenham and Redbridge last season. And Paul Lambert, the Champions League winner with Borussia Dortmund as a player, the Colchester manager, takes a big swig of water in the technical area. And he really will be thrilled by the start that his side have made to the new season. They lead at Carrow Road by 2-0 already. BBC Radio Norfolk. Really, Neil,
it's disbelief, isn't it? I think everybody's sitting here now after such a positive start from Norwich, sitting here in disbelief that they're 2 goals down, two goals gifted to them. Let's make no bones about it. They've been handed on a plate to Colchester. They've not had to work for them. There's a long way to go, as Keith says, but they have to get back in this. Norwich can't afford certainly to gift them another one.
Here is the Colchester right back playing the ball forward, Beavers. It's been helped on now towards Vincent on this right hand side. Colchester so full of confidence after the start they've made, they may be fancying a third here, and in fact Vincent's cross charged down by Drury, and it spins behind for Colchester's first corner. But they're already 2 goals to the good at Carrow Road. Norwich City fans know that the way the last few seasons have gone, that they couldn't take anything for granted, but they really kind of, even in their worst fears, thought that this was going to be happening. All the noise you can hear is from the Colchester fans on the far side in that corner of the ground. They really are enjoying it, and they've got a corner now which Fox is going to play in from the right hand side into the Norwich penalty area. Chris Martin heads it away at the near post. Gill completes the clearance, but it is bounced out only as far as the edge of the penalty area, and Simon Hackney, who crosses from the left hand side. There's another chance for Colchester here, and Platt, it's 3-0 to Colchester. After just 18 minutes, more poor defending from Norwich. The ball played into a packed penalty area. They didn't clear. Platt has scored again. Norwich 0, Colchester 3, and we've not even played 20 minutes of the new season.
Well, it's a decent ball in. I have to say that. It's a decent ball in from the left, but Norwich have got virtually everybody back in the box, and nobody's dealt with it. Simple as that. It's fallen to Platt at the far post. Not really marked, and he just smashes it in from 4 yards out. Can't really miss. Good goal from his point of view. But again, the defending, you've got to say, it's another goal. That one is a decent finish, but from Norwich's point of view, they have to stop them goals going in like that. It's too easy.
Well, it was all supposed to be so different. Norwich City conceding 3 goals in the first half an hour on the final day of last season at Charlton, when they had their chance to still keep themselves in the Championship. All these new players, all the preparation in pre-season, an unbeaten pre-season, and yet here we are, 3-0 down at home to Colchester on the opening day. Brian Gunn has seen enough from the director's box. He's emerged down on the touchline now, hands thrust into pockets. He, I was going to say looks furious, but it's a mixture of anger and disbelief carved on his face at the moment. And all that goodwill, all that optimism, all that singing before the game has now been replaced by a series of Norwich City fans punching the air in frustration, and as another free kick goes the way of Colchester back inside their own half. Look at Brian Gunn, arms folded, he's absolutely steaming, he's bright red in the face, and most of these Norwich City supporters are, because well this it does defy belief. We keep saying it, but 3-0 to Colchester. We've not even played 20 minutes.
Well, it's like I say, I mean, it's Charlton all over again, this, unfortunately, but you know, Norwich started the game so brightly, and we talked about the pre-season games results. You know, they don't count for anything when the real business starts, and this is the real business, all right. But it's not, though. Colchester, they've had 3 attempts they've not had a shot at goal really until Platt scored the third goal. 2 were handed on a plate. The third one, nobody's marking him, and he gets an easy good goal poacher's goal at the far stick. But you know, absolutely shell shot. First one, you know, you're thinking, you know, it's a bad mistake. Norwich can get back in it. Second one, we talked about disbelief. Third one, absolute shell shock now.
Well, that's an awful ball back from Whaley to Otsemabor, and he's had to chase back towards the edge of his own penalty area. Find Theoklitos, who clears forward right-footed, headed on by Tudor Jones. Now collected by Vincent in the midfield for Colchester. It is all Colchester at the moment, and Vincent goes on and up towards the edge of the penalty area, where he's brought down, and the free kick has been given to Colchester right on the edge of the Norwich City penalty area here.
Well, that's not a foul for me. I think he's played for that. Referee's bought it, but more concern now is the position of the free kick. 3 yards outside the D, dead centre, and at 3-0 up, Colchester will be fighting each other to take this.
If you just switched on, you didn't just mishear Neil Adams, he's spot on. BBC Radio Norfolk, it's Norwich 0, Colchester 3, with 21 minutes of the season gone. 2 already for Clive Platt, who was linked with a move to Norwich in the summer after Kevin Lisby had opened the scoring following a horrendous piece of defending from John Otsemabor. But Colchester have this free kick, 25 yards out, dead centre. Fox takes it, gets it over the wall and into the net. It's 4-0. 22 minutes gone. Norwich 0, Colchester 4. This is a collapse of unbelievable proportions at Carrow Road. Listen to the boos of the Norwich City supporters. Some of the fans are walking out of the ground, heading for the exits. A brilliant free kick from David Fox, but not even a quarter of the game gone. Already the heads are down. The Norwich City players looking at each other, hands on hips in disbelief. It's Norwich 0, Colchester 4.
I don't believe what I'm seeing, Chris. I really cannot believe what's going on. It's a decent free kick. It's not in the top corner, I have to say. It's not gone right in the top corner. Just slightly inside. Credit the free kick taker. He's stuck it in, he's hit the target. That's four attempts at goal now, 4 goals. There's fans on the pitch now.
Yeah, there is. There's a Norwich City supporter on the pitch at the moment. He's come running over towards the dugout here. He's thrown his season ticket towards Brian Gunn. There's 2 fans on the pitch now, and the Norwich City physio Simon Spencer and the kit man Manny Fowler having to get involved and restrain these 2 supporters. 3 stewards are on the pitch. They're being reinforced all the time. And after just 22 and a half minutes of the new season, these are dreadful scenes at Carrow Road. 2 Norwich City supporters are being led away at the moment by the stewards because they're on the pitch. A season ticket has been thrown in the direction of Brian Gunn. Now the supporters are shouting at each other. Some of the supporters in the front row of this City stand are shouting at those fans who've gone onto the pitch. What a load of rubbish is the chant from the supporters, and I've never seen scenes like this at Carrow Road.
Well, similar to the one we saw at Middlesbrough, wasn't it, a few years back when fans invading the pitch. I've been even arguing amongst ourselves with a few of the fans down here who didn't want the fans on the pitch, who were saying get behind the team, but frustration spilling over. I mean, it's an absolute nightmare of a start. Never in your worst nightmare could you have anticipated this. 4-0 down, 20 minutes on the clock.
Well, the referee has come over to have a word with the 2 managers, Brian Gunn and Paul Lambert. Norwich City Chief Executive David McNally emerges from the tunnel down below us. He is not far away from the touchline now. But we've had 2 Norwich City supporters on the pitch, one of them throwing their season ticket in the direction of the Norwich City dugout. And we have a hiatus in play here. This gut-wrenching start to the season for Norwich City supporters, who turned up with such hope. Their team not only losing early on in this season, but 4-0 down inside the first 20 minutes. A complete collapse, a complete capitulation, and we've had supporters on the pitch. And well, Neil, this is just
It's unprecedented, Chris. I've never seen, anything like this. I mean, we've been beaten opening games of the season, but 4-0 down, 23 minutes, 22 minutes was it when Fox curled the ball in, and it's emotions are spilling over. Of course, everybody's so enthusiastic before the game. The pre-season results we've talked about. There's 25,000 here coming to see Norwich turn on a show.
Gill plays a free kick into the Colchester penalty area as the game continues. Holt heads it back across goal. Shot comes in from Chris Martin. It's high over the crossbar and behind for a goal kick. And one of the Norwich fans in the front row just collects the ball and just tosses it away towards the corner flag out of absolute bitter frustration. But, horrible scenes at Carrow Road. Less than half an hour into the new season. We've seen Colchester score 4 times. They're 4-0 up. We've seen 2 Norwich supporters come onto the pitch, run. I think they came from sort of the Barclay and that sort of area. Almost half the length of the pitch along the touchline, a season ticket thrown in the direction of the Norwich City dugout and Brian Gunn, I suppose, because he was the man standing there at the time. And those 2 supporters have been led away. And 2 or 3 supporters have, I think, left the ground of their own accord as well. I can see a few empty seats around the ground wherever I look now. And these long-suffering supporters thought that perhaps they'd suffered enough and that this was going to be the start of something, that Norwich had reached rock bottom, but maybe there's still a little bit further to fall. They're 4-0 down at home on the opening day. The game is continuing with Otsemabor infield to Matthew Gill. Whaley now back to Otsemabor. That the game is almost sort of second in everyone's mind at the moment, because they're turning around, talking to each other, concentrating on what they've just seen in terms of the supporters on the pitch and the start that Norwich have made.
Yeah, it's incredible. Like I say, I've never experienced this before. Watching games, playing in games, it's just an absolute disaster. And you say we're only 26 minutes on the clock now. I don't know what the players are thinking down there, what their thoughts going through their mind. But I don't think the fans even know really what to do. Are you angry, or you sit there and bite your lip? I don't know what you do in this sort of situation.
There's Doherty for Norwich City, just inside his own half. Colchester, if you're just switching on, lead this game on BBC Radio Norfolk by 4-0. They scored 4 goals in the first 20 minutes. Houlihan with a neat dummy. Chris Martin plays the ball back to Tudor Jones. He tries to find Houlihan, but the ball is cut out easily by the Colchester defence, and Norwich have to start again from the halfway line with Otsemabor. It's been an almighty fall on this opening day for Norwich. Nelson on halfway. The new signings, he's one of them. They know what it's all about now, being a Norwich City player. Here's Houlihan on the left-hand side. Houlihan plays the ball into the penalty area. Tudor Jones has come forward from midfield. He's tackled, and the ball hacked out for a throw-in to Norwich, level with the edge of the Colchester penalty area.
Well, the fans now trying to get behind the team. I think they've just got to get on with it now, as the players have, the fans have. Try and salvage anything from the game now.
Houlihan on this left-hand side for the Canaries. Twist and turns, takes him away from Beavers. He gets the cross in, it's blocked and goes behind for a Norwich City corner. David McNally, I mentioned, Norwich's new chief executive, is still down below us in the tunnel area, talking to some of the stewards, keeping an eye on the way things are going. And Norwich, well, on the canvas at the moment. Gill with the corner from this left-hand side for Norwich City. Into the penalty area, towards the far post. Doherty with a looping header, and that's wide. And there's going to be a goal kick for Colchester.
Well, it needs someone on the par with that Middlesbrough game, doesn't it? Yeah, something incredible to happen. Can it happen? Can't see it at the moment, can you, at all? It's just staggering, absolutely staggering. I thought I'd seen it all at the Valley.
The Valley, Craven Cottage, days like that, being a Norwich City supporter in recent years, that send a shiver down the spine, and this has all the makings of being another one, because it is 4-0 to Colchester. And they'd scored 4 times in the first 20 minutes. Holt finds Houlihan on the left-hand side, or tries to, but it's been intercepted by Beavers, and it's so comfortable for Colchester, who come forward again in search of, dare I say, goal number 5. Lisby to Platt on the right-hand side. Now Beavers joining in the attack from full-back. He continues his run on the overlap, it's played straight out, and is a throw-in to Norwich in their left-back position. Adam Drury, you mentioned him. You mentioned that Premier League game with Middlesbrough, the 4-4 draw that Norwich had. Drury scored in that game, but hasn't scored since. It's a long way back from here for Norwich City. Otsemabor to Whaley on the right-hand side. Otsemabor had gone on the overlap, but Norwich don't find him. And it's back with Colchester again. High ball forward over the top, offside against Simon Hackney, who's cross set up goal number 3. after Norwich had failed really to deal with the corner. Lisby after 10 minutes, Platt after 13 and then 18, and a David Fox free kick after 20. Those are the 4 Colchester goals in the opening 20 minutes of this match. And Brian Gunn, the Norwich manager, with his dark suit on, stands in the technical area looking on, puffs out the cheeks, and is just looking for somebody out there to provide some sort of inspiration or something at Carrow Road. But Norwich can't even get the ball at the moment. Lisby over the halfway line, skips between Nelson and Drury, but Drury's done enough to find Theoklitos, and the Norwich goalkeeper plays high upfield. 2
centre forwards are causing Norwich so many problems. Big man, small man, Platt and Lisby. Lisby just feeding off Platt. Platt's just is intelligent, getting himself into decent positions, flicking things on, and Lisby, as anybody would be now in this situation, they'll be running all day.
Whaley, Semabor's gone on the overlap here on the attack. Norwich win a throw in on the right hand side, deep inside the Colchester territory. Whaley takes it, finds Owen Tudor-Jones just inside that Colchester half, drills a high ball forward, looking for Houlihan out on this left hand side. I think he has picked him out. Houlihan brings it under control, almost in the corner quadrant, but Beavers just gets in between Houlihan and the ball and sees it behind for a goal kick. And Brian Gunn trying to get some instructions out onto the pitch. He's going to have quite some half-time team talk ahead of him.
Well, they have to get a goal, simple as that, before the half-time. Norwich have got to get a goal to have any hope. You know, you're going in at 4-0 down, the game's over. You know, we've still got an hour of play left, but they have to get some. They've got to register something before half-time.
There's surely no coming back from this. Norwich are 4-0 down at Carrow Road against Colchester United. Holt plays the ball out towards the right-hand side for Norwich City, and there's nobody standing there at all, and the ball just rolls agonisingly over the touchline and out for a throw-in to Colchester. Carrow Road is quiet, bar for a few Colchester fans who are up on their feet chanting in the corner of the ground. An opening day nightmare for Norwich City supporters everywhere. They'd come to terms with relegation, they'd come to terms with the fact that it was going to be third-tier football. They even, judging by the calls and the conversations we were having, had allowed themselves that little bit of optimism, but that's been blown away by this Colchester onslaught at the start of the season. Some dreadful defending from Norwich City as well. They haven't helped themselves, and they're 4 down at home.
Well, you normally say defensive errors like that are punished at the highest level, but they've been punished at this level without a doubt. Colchester, like I say, 4 shots at goal, or 2 tap-ins, 2 other attempts at goal, and everything's gone in the net.
Tudor-Jones, high ball forward for Norwich. The Norwich player Holt has gone down on the edge of the penalty area, but I think he just lost his footing, and that allows the ball just to go through to Ben Williams, the free transfer in the summer from Carlisle, the goalkeeper for Colchester, who's played about as much part in this game as we have so far. Just been a spectator for most of it, had to catch a corner, and that's about it so far. Here's Doherty for Norwich, halfway inside his own half. Whaley outside him on the right hand side, to the feet of John Semafor, who certainly was at fault for that first Colchester goal, which started this unbelievable collapse from Norwich City. Theoklitos, the goalkeeper, has the ball at his feet from the edge of the penalty area, right-footed, clears it upfield, looking for the head of Grant Holt. It bounces in front of him. Martin tries to help the ball on, but a Congai at the back for Colchester clears it away. Whaley trying to get in possession on the right for Norwich. He wins a throw-in. They'll leave it for Semafor, just inside the Colchester half at Carrow Road. Here's Doherty. Norwich are attacking the Barclay end of Carrow Road in this first half. Well, I say attacking, they're supposed to be. We haven't seen much evidence of it so far. Here's Drury. Back again to Nelson.
I'll tell you what, there'll be people around the country thinking this is a misprint, or you know, the video printers, the score flashes. There's something wrong, because 20 minutes gone, 4 goals.
A blistering start to the season from Colchester United. Oh my goodness me. Norwich City have just gifted possession back to Colchester on halfway. Nelson tackles Lisby though, just to get them out of a hole there, but this has been a dismal performance from Norwich City so far.
They're all over the place at the back of now, unfortunately, which is it understandable? No, you've got to get on with it. You know, there'll be players not wanting the ball out there at the moment. They just want to get in there and get off and go home and whatever, but you can only see more goals, unfortunately. You can only see more goals being conceded, the way the passes are being left short and nobody's really taking responsibility. Look, there's another one, ball just kicked out. Players are nervous now. Players are nervous and don't want the ball.
Well, we mentioned it was a packed house before the game. There are a few empty seats. I think some people have actually gone already. Not many, but some looking around have. We had the incident with those two supporters both on the pitch. There'll be questions to be asked about that after the game. Two Norwich supporters on the field of play, running along the touchline and throwing a season ticket in the direction of the Norwich City manager. It was the Norwich City physio and the kit man who actually had to restrain the two supporters. The stewards did arrive on the scene and escort the two people off the premises, but the fact they were allowed to get that far has to be some sort of cause for concern. Offside against Platt and a free kick to Norwich deep inside their own half. And we often pay tribute to the Norwich City supporters for turning out in great numbers. They have again this afternoon, but you can't condone what we saw from those two fans.
No, of course not. It's emotion spilling over, but obviously there's two and 25,000 others have decided to sit in the seats.
Free kick for Norwich on the edge of their penalty area after that offside. The Okletos blasts it forward. Grant Holt heads it on. Martin gets on the edge of the penalty area, falls for Holt, who plays Houlihan in on the left-hand side. Beavers gets there first though, just knocks it out for a throw-in to Norwich City, which Adam Drury is going to take. Houlihan on this left-hand side. Forward to Chris Martin. Martin heading for the byline, but a Congai, powerful figure at the back there. He's making his Colchester debut today. He's tackled Martin and put the ball out for throw-in, and now off the ball. Chris Martin's been floored by Lee Beavers. Some of the Norwich City supporters certainly spotted that, and the ref did as well. Rob Shoebridge was right on the spot. I think it's just going to be a word with Beavers. They're coming together there from the former Lincoln City player. He was a youngster with Ipswich, and he certainly clashed with Martin there. But there's going to be a throw-in for Norwich, level with the Colchester penalty area, and maybe this is a new weapon in Norwich City's arsenal, because it looks as if Matt Gill is going to line up for a long throw-in into the penalty area. It's bounced a long way, it's loose, appeals for handball, not given. Martin has the ball on the byline, cuts it back. It's cut out there by Hammond at the near post for Colchester and cleared away. Colchester are 4-0 up at Carrow Road. That is the score on BBC Radio Norfolk. 9 minutes to go until half-time, and the reaction when the half-time whistle is going to be interesting here. Long ball forward from Oxemabor, caught by the goalkeeper Williams as Grant Holt threatened to close him down. Well, I think when the half-time whistle goes here, these Norwich fans will let you know exactly what they've made of this first half performance from Norwich.
You just can't believe it, can you? I don't think anybody can believe it. What, 4-0 down? Like I say, if they'd have lost every pre-season game, if they'd have looked uncohesive, there was no discipline, no structure, nothing there, you could probably say, well, this has been coming, but it's been anything but. It just does emphasise, doesn't it? You know, those warm-up games are just that, they're warm-up games. This is when it begins, and Colchester are just riding the crest of a wave at the moment.
Second favourites for promotion as well, Norwich City before today. That may just be changing as we speak with the bookmakers. Semabor is forced to concede a throw-in deep inside his own half over there on the far side. That's the Colchester left, and they're just happy to wait for Mark Tierney, the left back, to come forward and get ready with this throw-in for United, who lead at Carrow Road by 4-0. Norwich, we were talked before this game about turning Carrow Road into a fortress. Well, that fortress has been knocked down already as Platt heads the ball across goal, and Lisby scored again. Oh, a simple goal for Colchester. They've got 5 before half-time. Norwich City have been undone by more just simple football. Long throw-in, headed on by Platt. Lisby knocks it in almost in slow motion, and Colchester have 5 before half-time.
Well, you can use any adjective you want now. It's a shambles. It's an absolute shambles again. Tap in, basically, Chris. Long throw, flick on, tap in. It's almost like, you know, what you go through when you're not playing against opposition, just to practice your set pieces, practice your attacking play. It's 5-0. You don't really need to say any more. What can you say? There's nothing that can be said. It's an absolute disaster, an absolute unmitigated shambles.
Shambles is the word. I mean, that wasn't even it's so simple. A throw in to the near post, flicked on, and Lisby somehow was completely unmarked and just headed the ball in. And there are Norwich fans walking down towards the exits now. I suppose some of them will be going for a half-time cup of tea, but I tell you what, some of them won't be coming back.
Well, it's a case now.
5 goals in less than a half.
Well, you have to make sure now it doesn't end up 7, 8, 9, 10. That's my main concern now, because this is certainly on the cards. 38 minutes, 5 conceded, and it looks like they're going to score every time they get the ball anywhere near the Norwich penalty area. That's the main concern now. This could end up, literally double figures. They said they needed to get back into it. Colchester have added to it, and
Doherty heads the ball back to his goalkeeper, Theoklitos, and there's an ironic round of applause as Theoklitos catches the ball. Tudor Jones on halfway for Norwich. Looks for Whaley out on the right-hand side. He controls, plays it back to Otsemabor. Low ball forward from him. Martin helps it on. Grant Holt gives chase, and in doing so tugs the shirt of the Colchester defender, Magnus Okongai, and it's a free kick to the visiting side.
Well, 7 subs. I think you've got to put 3 on.
Shame you can't put 11 on, isn't it?
That's just defensively has been unacceptable, really. It's been far too easy. Like I say, it's not like 5-0 down. People will be thinking Colchester, is it Real Madrid? We just better hang on here.
Here we go again. Vincent for Colchester, tackled by Houlihan, who actually does well to find Whaley. Now Otsemabor, the Norwich right back. Norwich 0, Colchester 5 before half-time. Houlihan spreads the play out towards Drury on this left-hand side. The Norwich City left-back trying to join in the attack. Gill in midfield is just so easily dispossessed by Nisbet, but Gill wins it back. And now here's the defender Beavers for Colchester, clearing his lines. Headed inside by Nelson to the right-back. Otsemabor for Norwich City. Whaley in front of him. I've seen nothing of Norwich as an attacking force in this game. Pathetic first-half performance from them. They're 5-0 down. Here's Gill. And now Nelson finds Drury, the Norwich left-back, just up towards the halfway line. High ball forward. Chris Martin goes down after clashing with the defender, but there's nothing in it. They just ran into each other. No foul given. Grant Holt trying to win the ball for Norwich on this left-hand side. Drury heads it forward, and out it goes for a throw-in. Level with the edge of that Colchester United penalty area to the visiting side. Some furrowed brows, some angry faces on the Norwich City supporters near us as you look around. Many of them slumped back in their seats with their arms folded.
Well, so many dreams shattered, isn't there, within 20 minutes of this game? Probably less, actually. That optimism, that such optimism surrounded the ground. You could tell that by it being full. Everybody's thinking after the last game of last season, maybe there'd be 15,000 at best in here, but it's a full house. Everyone was, yeah, they can do it, they can do it. They were pleased with the signings, they were pleased with the performances pre-season, and everything's just been ripped from under the feet within 10-15 minutes of the season beginning.
Houlihan on halfway for Norwich City, forward to Gill. Drury's made a good run forward here on the left-hand side, infield to Matthew Gill. Houlihan helps it on, Chris Martin beaten to it. Gill heads it forward, and it's just easily just lobbed back really into the possession of Colchester, who tried to play the ball forward. Norwich unable to really get on the ball at the moment in that midfield. Gill doing his best. Nelson plays a route 1 ball forward for Norwich. Beavers chasing it into the right back position for Colchester and just seeing it out for a throw in. Just under 3 minutes to go until half time. This seems like a good time to remind you that Canary calls along after the game. 01603 617 321. Although I dread to think what the score is going to be by then if this carries on.
6-5.
Norwich 0, Colchester 5. 2.5 minutes to go until half time. Throw into Colchester. Beavers takes it, gets a good bit of distance on it. And it's dropped again for Hammond deep inside the Norwich half. Norwich just are not getting to anything here. Here's Hackney, plays the ball forward into the penalty area. It goes all the way through to Theoklitos, the goalkeeper, and once again he's being ironically applauded for picking up the ball. He's the man who seems to be getting a lot of the stick at the moment from the Norwich City supporters, but it could be handed out in any number of directions. Tudor Jones with a looping header forward, looking for Grant Holt, beaten in the air. Tierney clears the lines for Colchester. Route 1 ball through the middle. Oh dear, Nelson's just headed it straight to Platt. Doherty gets the challenge in, played up towards Lisby on the edge of the penalty area. Now Vincent on the attack on the right hand side. Can Colchester score 6 goals in the half here? Shot from Vincent is deflected and Lisby almost got his head to it, but could not quite divert it goalwards, and it goes behind for a goal kick.
That's just awful defending, simple as that, Chris. Bad error again. This time I think it was Nelson headed the ball straight to the Colchester player, and they're just full of beans. Like I said, they're almost fighting each other, the players in blue and white shirts, to get on the ball. Who wouldn't be? You're 5-0 up, you've won the game already. Everyone wants to go and score now, and unfortunately they're looking likely that they will do.
Well, Norwich are going to start the season with a defeat, but not just a defeat. This really is going to knock out any sort of optimism, any sort of feeling of encouragement from the supporters, because Colchester have come to Carrow Road and got 5 goals as Chris Martin chases a long ball forward here for Norwich, puts Okongai, the defender, under pressure. Martin actually has done well to win this ball on the right hand side. Joining in the attack now is Whaley. He crosses early into the penalty area, too high for Holt, headed behind by Vincent, and Norwich City have a corner with just a few seconds of this half to go. Forward from the back come Nelson and Doherty, but it's taken short to Tudor Jones. Back out to Houlihan on this left hand side. Houlihan on the corner of the penalty area, lays it off again. Tudor Jones with a curling effort, and that one going over the crossbar and into the supporters behind the goal.
It's a shot. That's the first shot we've had, isn't it? Missed the target. And that just about sums up the first half.
You can use the word collapse.
I suppose we'll have a good few minutes added time after the supporters on the pitch and the goals, obviously. So we're probably going to get 2, 3, maybe more added minutes.
Well, there have been a few 3 minutes have just been signalled by the fourth official. We had the supporters on the pitch a bit earlier on, that season ticket thrown at the Norwich manager Brian Gunn by one of the supporters, who managed to get, I think, from the Barclay end, that area of the ground, all the way along the touchline. And it's just been unbelievable, this game. Words almost defy what we've seen. Norwich 0, Colchester 5 before half-time. And Brian Gunn has been let down by his team before. He said it at the end of last season. And he's got plenty of work to do at half-time here. Here's a clearance by Colchester up towards the halfway line. Nelson heads the ball out of play. Throw in to Colchester just on this halfway line. And Paul Lambert, the Colchester manager, picks up the ball a day after his 40th birthday and can even afford to respond to the Colchester supporters' chance of "give us a wave." He's in easy street at the moment, the Colchester manager. It was his big 4-0 yesterday.
Well, he's had some present.
His team have gone one better than that, haven't they, already?
He won't believe what's happening either, you know. Never in your wildest dreams can you envisage something like this happening.
Beavers with a long throw in for Colchester, headed on by Platt towards Lisby. Vincent getting forward on the right hand side, level with the Norwich penalty area. Vincent taking on Drury, who gets the challenge in, and out it goes for a throw in. Norwich 0, Colchester 5. We've had supporters on the pitch at Carrow Road as well in this first half. And we go back to Charlton on the final day of last season and how miserable we were feeling at 3-1 down at half time. It's been even worse today. All those flags and banners that were handed out before the game have been tucked under the seats as Colchester get the ball back into the Norwich penalty area. Holt clears it away. Martin can't get onto the ball inside his own half. It's played back now towards Pat Baldwin, the Colchester centre half, on halfway. Boots a high ball forward. Drury with a looping header away. Houlihan in the left back position for Norwich City. Clears it forward and it's caught by Brian Gunn. And that tells you that Houlihan had just managed to clear it straight out of play for a throw in to Colchester, which Beavers will take from halfway inside the Norwich half. Lee Beavers lobs it forward. Platt heads it inside. Nelson half clears for Norwich City. Grant Holt now back working on the edge of his own penalty area. Tudor Jones gets it away and wins a free kick. The free kick was actually for a challenge maybe on Holt there, but anyway, it is a Norwich free kick on the edge of their own penalty area. And I don't know what Brian Gunn is going to be saying at half time. What can you say after this?
Nothing to say, is there? Nothing to say. I mean, you've never seen anything like it.
Holt heads the ball on. Cleared away again by Colchester. Okongai. Listen to this from the Norwich supporters. Well, it is half-time. We've seen some real contenders for the worst 45 minutes in Norwich City history in recent years. You go back to Charlton on the final day of last season, the capitulation at Fulham on the final day of Norwich City as a Premier League club, but all of those may just have been surpassed by the complete collapse, the pathetic surrender we've seen in the first half here from Norwich. 5 goals down at half-time, 2 for Lisby, 2 for Platt, a great free kick from David Fox. The goals, the first one coming from a very bad mistake from John Oxenbourne, most of them being very simple and just tap-ins. And really, the Norwich City supporters, your sympathy, your heart goes out to them, Neil, because they've turned out in good numbers, they've supported the team once more, and yet 45 minutes into the season, and their team is 5-0 down at home.
You do. You feel for everybody here who's, like I said, had the dreams almost, for the season. We're all talking before the game, what's going to happen this season, where they're going to finish. Talking championships, you're talking top 2, top 6. Don't think I've heard anybody say anything other than that. And people have turned out here, 18,000, 19,000 season tickets, full house, which it would be if Norwich were winning games. I'm pretty sure it would have been full. And like I say, the thing that hurts most is everybody's dreams have been completely shattered, trampled on, ground into the dust within 15-20 minutes of the season starting. And from there it just got progressively worse. It just looked like Colchester were going to score every time they put the ball in the box. Defending was awful, goalkeeping not clever, and every time the ball went near the 6-yard box, a second later we were picking out of the back of the net. And I'm sure even Paul Lambert would not have believed what happened there. They're 1-0 up, he's delighted. They've got a goal from a bad defensive error, but then more errors, and we look at this ridiculous scoreline now, which, like I say, I've certainly never come across before, even at 4-0, but 5-0 down at home on the opening day of the season. I mean, there is no words that can sum that up, Chris. It's 5-0, you're losing 5-0 at home in a division lower that you've been playing in last season. I mean, what else can you say? 5-0 is 5-0, and it can only get worse.
We've had supporters on the pitch. We've had a season ticket thrown in the direction of the Norwich City dugout. 2 supporters having to be restrained by the club's physio and the kit man as well. And that all just adds to the crushing disappointment, that horrible feeling that all Norwich fans will be feeling in the pit of their stomachs right now, just 45 minutes into the season, and their team somehow is already 5-0 down at home.
Welcome back to the football season here at Carrow Road. Real anger and gloom and all those emotions tied in one. 5-0. And there are 2 vacancies for season tickets after that incredible incident when Norwich were 4-0 down, and that invasion of 2 members of the crowd easily getting onto the pitch from the main stand, from the snake pit area here, eluding any of the security and getting on while play was taking place. Disgraceful scenes, but real frustration that Norwich have started the season in this manner. 5-0 down, and it's not full time. We're only halfway through this one. We'll get the thoughts of Keith Webb in just a moment. Let's just bring you a glimmer of good news. Australia are all out in the test match at Headingley, but the bad news is there's more than 300 runs that England have to make up now. First innings deficit that's massive. Guy Swindles.
Yes, I'm afraid the first innings deficit is 343 after Australia were eventually dismissed for 445 in their first innings. Congratulations though to Stuart Broad. He never gave up, and he ended up with figures of 6 for 91, which, considering the carnage around him, were remarkably good figures. So England looking down the barrel in this 4th Empire Ashes match. They resume 343 behind.
Thanks very much, Guy. BBC Radio Norfolk, we're live at Carrow Road. Colchester leading this one 5-0. First day of the League One season. Former Norwich coach Keith Webb is with us, and I think the cricket reporter there, Guy Swindles, used a good word, carnage. That's what we've witnessed, Keith.
Well, I'm like everyone else sitting in this ground with the rest of the supporters. I'm absolutely shell-shocked of what I've seen. I've seen defending there this afternoon that if it had been Norwich City's under-13 players, you wouldn't have them boys at the club anymore. I mean, the defending has been absolutely woeful. I mean, 5-0 to Colchester, and you can't say that Colchester have played well. I mean, Christmas is meant to be on the 25th of December, but it's certainly on August the 8th here today. I mean, the goals have been absolutely disgraceful. There's no other word for it. I mean, the first goal, there's been a pass back, poor pass back, but even then I felt the keeper should have dealt with it, because Lisby has got a touch to it. Now, whether the goalkeeper knows the rules or not, I don't know, but he should have, once he touched it, he should have came and caught the ball and took the player out at the same time. The second goal, you could have thrown your hat on the ball and still stopped it, and it's managed to score out of his hands. The third goal, we got a little bit flat in defence, and we've been punished. And every time the ball goes into the box now, you expect Colchester to score, and it's not as if they've played really well. They've been average, to be perfectly honest, but they're 5-0 up, and the game really is over and done with. Norwich, to be fair, sorry Matt.
I was just going to say, not a stunning debut for the keeper, Michael Theoklitos. I know he's not the only one, but the fans have certainly let the new keeper know what they think.
Well, it's a harsh introduction to League One football, and if we had any illusions that it was going to be a piece of cake, then those illusions have well and truly gone up in a puff of smoke. I mean, looking at the way Norwich are playing, they're looking to play from the back, they're looking to play in midfield, which is all well enough, but at this minute in time, there isn't a cutting edge to the team. You know, when we started the first sort of 5 minutes, there was a little bit of penetration. We were looking to knock balls in behind the Colchester back four, and we started to get a little bit of pressure on. And that's all Colchester have done as soon as they've got the ball, is to look to hit the ball down the sides of the two centre halves and get Lisby and Platt to run onto them. Norwich want to keep playing balls into feet or round the chest of our two centre forwards, Holt and Martin, and the two big centre halves are taking everything in their stride. We're not hurting the opposition. Now, as basic as it may sound, Norwich have got to get together now and just start turning the Colchester back four and start trying to build a bit of momentum, because if they don't, this could end up embarrassing if it isn't already embarrassing.
Yeah, if you just joined us, the terrible news for Norwich fans. Norwich 5-0 down at half-time against Colchester. Keith, is that a Norwich side with obviously with 6 new players making their competitive debut today in the yellow and green? Is that showing that more than half the team haven't played together before?
Well, I don't think in Brian Gunn's worst nightmare he could have envisaged the sort of start he's had today. I mean, everyone's got caught up with the enthusiasm and really, you know, with the new signings coming in, but they've been together long enough now to build some sort of understanding of a team structure. But as a manager, you just cannot legislate for the basic errors that are occurring. You know, and as a manager, you can do so much. You can organise the team. You think you get them motivated. The players show that motivation before they go out on the pitch. But when you make them sort of mistakes, you know, if he had any hair, Brian Gunn would have pulled it all out by half-time.
If Charlton away at the end of last season was a new low, then this has even reached, but it's plummeted further depths. Norwich City 5 goals behind at half-time against Colchester, and Kevin Lisby got the first one. Clive Platt tapped in again for the second goal. Platt added another one, so 3-0 down on 19 minutes, Norwich. And then David Fox, a free kick, questionable decision, but Fox he hit it quite straight. It looked stoppable. He scored on 22 minutes, and then Kevin Lisby, 7 minutes before the break, made it a nap, 5-0. And in amongst that lot, when Norwich were 4-0 down and the City crowd really did get to a sort of fever pitch of discontent, this happened.
There's fans on the pitch now.
Yeah, there is. There's a Norwich City supporter on the pitch at the moment. He's come running over towards the dugout here. He's thrown his season ticket towards Brian Gunn. There's 2 fans on the pitch now, and the Norwich City physio, Simon Spencer, and the kit man, Manny Fowler, having to get involved and restrain these 2 supporters. 3 stewards are on the pitch. They're being reinforced all the time. And after just 22 and a half minutes of the new season, these are dreadful scenes at Carrow Road. 2 Norwich City supporters are being led away at the moment by the stewards because they're on the pitch. A season ticket has been thrown in the direction of Brian Gunn. Now the supporters are shouting at each other. Some of the supporters in the front row of this City stand are shouting at those fans who've gone onto the pitch. What a load of rubbish is that chant from the supporters, and I've never seen scenes like this at Carrow Road.
Tempers and emotions flaring midway through the first half, and Keith, you heard Chris Gorham say he'd never seen scenes like that before, that there must have been fans running on the pitch in the past. I can't remember when.
Certainly in my time at the football club, I can certainly not remember anything like that happening, but emotions are running high at the moment, there's no question of that. And obviously what went on last season, that's still very much in the memories of the supporters, and with all the things that have gone on in the season, in the summer, they expected to see a lot more positive things from the players on the pitch, and it was just a case really of emotions running high. Supporters are very emotive. They're the lifeblood of the club, and when things go wrong, sometimes, emotions get the better of them, but there's no excuse for that. That's done the team no good. It's certainly got the crowd quiet, and you know, all the headlines are going to be for the wrong reasons, even though the score is not going to be a good reason tomorrow as well.
Yeah, I can tell you now that I can see a member of the Fleet Street press, the national press, down in the front row of the snake pit just into the main stand, and you can absolutely guarantee he is asking who those people were, where they came from in the stand, and that will be the main feature of his story in the Sunday press, and that is not what Norwich City want, that sort of headline going into this new League One campaign. Norwich City 5-0 down against Colchester at half-time here at Carrow Road, bringing the rest of the football and all the other news in a few moments. But let's break for the more gentle pleasures of the competition we've followed all through the summer, the East Anglian Premier League cricket, and Nick Bowlers at Highfield Lawn, Fakenham against Horsford. Nick, just cheer us up, will you? Tell us something. Do some ball-by-ball coverage for about an hour.
Well, it is
do something, please.
It is a bit more serene and a bit more pleasurable, shall we say. It sounds absolutely dreadful there at Carrow Road, and you can only feel sorry for everybody who's having to watch that unfold this afternoon. But here it's a bit painful, to say the least, at the moment, because Fakenham have got loads of time in which to get 111 to win this match in a minimum of 72 overs, and they started very, very slowly indeed, but they've got all that time in the world. After 23 overs, we're currently standing at 34 without loss. James Hill is on 23 and James Brown is on 11. So the Horsford bowling is doing their business and trying to keep the runs down, but of course Fakenham have got those many overs in hand. The story of the Horsford innings: 110 all out after 47.2 overs, and really, if it wasn't for the tail end of the batting order, then they would have been in awful trouble, because at one stage 36 for 6 were Horsford. That after Fakenham won the toss and elected to put Horsford into bat, which obviously was the right decision. But then there was a decent partnership between Luke Caswell and Matthew Spenceley for the 8th wicket, which was worth 30. Caswell went on to get 25, which ended up the top score before he was caught and bowled by Daniel Hubbard. Matthew Spenceley went on to get 23. He was caught by Rodrigo off the bowling of Angus Stewart, who went on to take 5 wickets. And then James Leck with a very handy 16 towards the end. He was caught by Michael Van Dort off the bowling of Rodrigo. And the extras, well, that was the third top scorer with 22. Angus Stewart, very, very good figures. 16 overs, 4 maidens, 5 for 34. Ben Smart, 4 overs, 2 for 11. And then there was a wicket apiece for Sean Cooper. He got 1 for 21 off 12. Sanjay Rodrigo, 1 for 15 off 6.2. And young Daniel Hubbard, 1 for 3 off 4 overs. So not a great total, of course, to aim for. And they have got all those overs in hand and some decent batting to come as well. So at the moment, you would certainly put your money on Fakenham. So chasing 111 to win, it will be a very welcome victory for Fakenham. They are 34 without loss.
Elsewhere, Swardston's game was rained off today, let's tell you, and we've got no details on the leaders, Vauxhall Mallards. Here at Carrow Road, just about to start the second half, Norwich trailing 5-0 to Colchester on the opening day of the League One campaign. Elsewhere, scores from the other League One games at half-time: Brighton 0, Walsall 1, Bristol Rovers 1, Leyton Orient 1, Carlisle Brentford is 1-1. Charlton leading Wickham by 2-1. No problems for Charlton, who also came down with Norwich last term. Gillingham beat Swindon 5-0, so as we stand now, Norwich level bottom of the table. Leeds 1, Exeter 0, Milton Keynes against Hartlepool, that's 0-0. Oldham against Stockport, goalless. Southend leading Huddersfield 1-0 at Roots Hall. And just bringing you up to date there, Torquay 1, Chesterfield 0. Oh, that is in League 2. Yeovil, where Norwich go in a few days' time, Tuesday night. Yeovil leading Tranmere 1-0, and it finished Southampton 1, Millwall 1. So those the other League One scores. We'll bring you up to date with all the Championship and League One full times after the game. We've got the Bridgelands League to talk about after the match as well, and your Canary calls as well. We'll be inviting you to phone in on this one later, so think of what you're going to say. It's BBC Radio Norfolk. 5-0 down Norwich against Colchester United. I don't know whether we can bear to listen or even look at the second half, but I suppose we're masochists after last season. Here we go with Neil Adams and Chris Gorham.
An hour ago it was excitement and anticipation which was about to greet the start of the first half. Now it's fear and trepidation for Norwich City fans. They're 5-0 down, and every time you look up at the scoreboard, even though we've sat and watched it unfold in front of us, it is still difficult to get your head round. Brian Gunn hasn't changed it at half-time, no substitutions. Michael Theoklitos in goal. Semabor, Doherty, Nelson and Drury remains the back four. Gill and Tudor-Jones in the middle of midfield, Whaley on the right, Houlihan on the left, Grant Holt and Chris Martin up front. Not surprisingly, no changes for Colchester. Ben Williams in goal, Lee Beavers and Mark Tierney the full-backs, Magnus Okonge, Patrick Baldwin are the central defenders. In midfield, Simon Hackney, David Fox, Dean Hammond and Ashley Vincent, Clive Platt and Kevin Lisby up front. 5-0 down at half-time. Why hasn't Brian Gunn changed it?
I think it's a case of, Chris, he obviously read the riot act in there to them and sort of said, you know, you've let everybody down. You've got to go out and show that there's a bit of pride there, if nothing else. You'd almost be disrespectful to put players on in this sort of situation and say, go and try and do something about it. I'm sure we will see them second half, but that's a case of there's 11 players out there now. Owe the fans something in this second half. How long it lasts, we will see.
Norwich 0, Colchester 5. Norwich in their yellow and green. They are kicking from left to right as we look at it in this second half. Colchester blue and white stripes, blue shorts and blue socks, absolutely chest puffed out, beaming Colchester United because they lead by 5-0. It's not often you come out at the start of the second half already 5 up. Norwich on the attack though. Holt crosses low from the right hand side and it's cleared away by Baldwin at the near post. Gill puts it back into the penalty area. Baldwin misjudges it. Martin goes in with the goalkeeper, gets a touch to the ball, it goes down, but all Martin can do is turn the ball wide of the post. 30 seconds into the second half, a goal kick to Colchester.
I think Colchester manager Paul Lambert will obviously be telling his team to just continue the way they have, but they will be expecting the aerial ball from Norwich now. Norwich trying to put them under a bit of pressure, and you may see them take the foot off the gas accordingly, but with Lisby and Platt up front, Colchester players know they've only got to hit it long, considering the damage they caused in the first half, to escape and to relieve their own pressure. And here they come again.
Lisby into the Norwich penalty area. He's just lost his footing at the vital moment and Norwich get the challenge in. The ball comes in though from the right hand side from Vincent, high towards Platt at the far post, headed away by Semabor. Ball runs towards the edge of the penalty area. It's put back into the Norwich box by Colchester. Nelson this time clears. Fox steers it back into the penalty area and Theoklitos takes the ball. There might be a race on between Lisby and Platt to see who can get to the hat-trick first. 2 each for them in the first half.
Well, Lisby should have scored then. He's clean through the middle of the defence again. Penalty spot just to keep it to beat, and fortunately for Norwich's point of view, he'd almost tripped over his own feet when he's probably thinking, which corner do I put it in from a hat-trick? So easy again, right through the middle of the defence.
Norwich carved apart all the way through that first half, and the second half starting on the same lines as the cross comes in from the left and caught by Theoklitos at chest height, and every time he catches the ball it's being ironically cheered by the Norwich City supporters. He is really in at the deep end as a Norwich City player, the Australian goalkeeper. After that mistake he made, he was involved in a real mess up for the first goal, which Kevin Lisby scored after an awful bit of defending from John Semabor. And okay, Theoklitos is getting the punishment at the moment, but he's not been helped by his defence, has he?
Not at all. I think he's made 2 errors and they both cost goals, and as a goalkeeper he has to hold his hands up and accept that. But as you say, there's been 5 goals gone in there. They've not all been his fault. The team they're just not giving him any protection at all.
There is John Semabor on the right hand side, just inside the Colchester half. Low ball forward, Houlihan beaten to it, and it's cleared by Colchester back into the Norwich half. And there's Doherty and Semabor seem to leave it to each other there for a moment, and in the end Doherty came across the Norwich captain and put it out for a throw in. I don't know whether Brian Gunn does have a sort of hairdryer treatment as a manager. I'm sure if he did, he would have used it a few times during last season. He certainly would have turned it up to new levels after that first half here. Here's Hackney on the left-hand edge of the Norwich penalty area. Lays it off for Lisby, who's on a hat-trick, but he's offside. Puts the ball into the net anyway. And the man who Norwich City supporters really do love to hate has not done his cause of increasing his popularity with the City fans any good here today with 2 simple goals.
And they've all come from Platt. Platt's just bullying Nelson and Doherty every time it goes to him. Lisby, as I've said 2-3 times in that first half, he knows he can make the run, knowing full well that Platt will win it, or he'll barge players out the way, and it's just been too much for Norwich. They haven't been able to deal with him at all.
Nelson plays it forward on the left-hand side. That ball's just going to go out of play for a throw-in in the right-back area for Colchester, which Beavers will take. The former Ipswich youngster, Lee Beavers, never played in the first team there. He was with Lincoln City last season. Gets a good throw in there into the chest of Platt. Plays it up towards Lisby and Platt. They're linking up again brilliantly. And once again, Lisby's beaten the offside trap. Cuts in from the right-hand side. Lays the ball into the path of one of his teammates, Vincent, who scuffs the ball over the crossbar. And that really should have been 6-0 because Colchester, as in the first half, are just carving Norwich City apart at every opportunity.
Oh, they're just ripping them to pieces. It should be 7 now, to be fair. Lisby should have scored. And that is as an easier chance again as you'll get. It's just a series of little headed flick-ons, 1-2s, again, straight through the middle of the Norwich defence. Lovely cut back, and from just inside the penalty spot again, it's ballooned over. Could easily be 7.
Norwich are being ripped to yellow and green shreds here at the moment. And Doherty's chasing another high ball back towards his own goal. Hacks it out for a throw-in to Colchester on this left-hand side. Hackney will take it. Former Carlisle winger comes across to try and get the ball to take this throw-in. Norwich 0, Colchester 5 is the score on BBC Radio Norfolk. Here's Platt on the left-hand side. Support from Tierney, the fullback. Instead, it's gone all the way back to Baldwin, the central defender. Baldwin finds Tierney, the bald left back, who's joining in on the attack. Every Colchester player keen to get forward as they look to add to the 5 goals they've got already. Hammond and Tudor-Jones and Oxenball between them eventually get the ball off him, but don't really get it away until Tudor-Jones chases it into the right-back area. Now finds Oxenball, and Oxenball plays it into the path of Matt Gill. And Gill finds Drury on the left-hand side, still inside his own half, but has space in front of him. Stops, gives it back to Gill. In the midfield, the former Exeter player will go to his former club with Norwich City next Saturday, of course. Houlihan's given the ball away in midfield. And Colchester have it back with a Congai here. High ball forward from him. Lisby controls. It's played through the middle for Lisby to chase, but Oxenball nods it back to Theoklitos, the goalkeeper, who just bowls it out into his D on the edge of the penalty area, all in this dark green kit, the Australian, and launches the ball forward, looking for Grant Holt. Challenge there by a Congai, really did thump into each other there. Proper League One challenge that was. Grant Holt left on his backside by the giant defender. Holt did well against him last season, scored 3 goals for Shrewsbury against Dagenham and Redbridge in the 2 games, but a Congai got the move to Colchester and is having the last laugh over Grant Holt today. Doherty's just headed the ball back to Theoklitos. He bowls the ball out to Drury, the left back. High ball forward from him. Holt has beaten the offside trap. He's battling with Baldwin in the penalty area, but in the end, in trying to get a foot on the ball, Holt has fouled the Colchester defender, and it's a free kick to the visiting side in their own penalty area.
Yeah, he's not got the pace to go beyond defenders. Holt has to go really to his chest or to his head. Once that ball bounced then and he's running towards the opposition goal, centre-back was always in control, and it was a foul. Holt just trying to pull the defender's shirt to gain an advantage.
Norwich 0, Colchester 5 is the sorry state of affairs at Carrow Road, if you're a Norwich City supporter. Tudor-Jones heads the ball towards Oxenball, and Oxenball clears the ball into the stand under pressure from Simon Hackney. Tierney, the fullback, comes forward ready to take this throw in midway inside the Norwich half. And it is Tierney who will maybe try and get a bit of distance on this, try and throw it towards the penalty area. Throws it into the feet instead of Platt, who's tackled well by the strong Tudor-Jones. He finds Gill, still deep inside his own half, but a high ball forward from him, turns defence into attack. Chris Martin chasing it and wins a throw-in halfway inside the Colchester half. Martin thought about taking the throw-in quickly, but instead will leave it for John Oxenball to come forward and take. 52 minutes played at Carrow Road, according to the yellow and green electronic scoreboards at either end of the ground. Norwich 0, Colchester 5 is the sorry scoreline on there, as Gill floats the ball out towards Houlihan on that left-hand side. The ball headed back to the Colchester goalkeeper by Vincent. That was composed defending. We haven't seen a lot of that this afternoon.
Certainly haven't. Certainly not down at that end of the pitch anyway.
And Vincent heads the ball back to Ben Williams, the goalkeeper, who, right-footed, boots it high. Drury heads it up in the air. Tudor-Jones battling with Hammond in midfield. Norwich win the ball. Here's Gill. Here's Tudor-Jones now still inside his own half to Gill. Oxenball wants it on this right-hand side and gets it. Plays it into Simon Whaley, former Preston winger. High ball forward from him into the channel for Houlihan to come across towards the right-hand side and to get to, but he's beaten to it, and it's just played out of play by Colchester for a Norwich City throw-in. Oxenball throws it back to Doherty on halfway. Now Nelson, big chunky Norwich City central defender. Drury, the left back for Norwich, back in again to Nelson. Left-footed plays it forward. Holt chests it into the path of Martin on that left-hand side. Holt again in possession. Now Tudor-Jones on halfway. Wes Houlihan strokes it forward, pushing the back there on Martin by the looks of it, but ref plays advantage. Houlihan plays it through. Simon Whaley chases into the penalty area, but the goalkeeper comes out and dives on the ball.
That's what Colchester have been doing all the game, just bouncing the ball off the striker, getting runners off him. Whaley couldn't quite get there. Just had a little swap over now. Norwich. Houlihan playing on this right hand side, Whaley on the left.
It's going to take a little bit more than that, I think, to get Norwich back in this. They're 5 down. Here's Lisby on a hat-trick and fouled midway inside the Norwich half. Referee Rob Shoebridge quick to give the free kick. Tudor-Jones doesn't like the decision. I think it was Gill actually who made the challenge, and he's giving the referee the benefit of his thoughts as well. Free kick taken quickly. Hackney on this left-hand side for Colchester. Puts it into the penalty area. Headed away by Norwich. Houlihan comes back towards his own penalty area to control. Tries to dribble the ball away from danger. He's tackled, but it breaks for Gill. And now Whaley goes back on the right wing for Norwich City. Inside his own half, though. And plays it back to John Oxenbourne. And now Gill, still midway inside his own half. Gill plays the ball all the way across towards the left-hand side, where there's no Norwich player standing, and straight out for a throw-in.
Absolutely nothing going right for Norwich. Passing's well off.
Everything's
reasonably easy pass that time, nowhere near the intended target.
Now, for those that weren't with us in the first half, we had the dismal scenes not only of the 5 Colchester goals before half-time, but also 2 Norwich fans running along the touchline here as Nelson makes a mess of a clearance but gets away with it because it goes through to his goalkeeper Theoklitos. I was talking about the Norwich supporters who came away from somewhere in the ground towards the Barclay end, ran along the touchline, and certainly one of them threw a season ticket in the direction of Brian Gunn, the Norwich manager, who'd just come down into the technical area at that point. Here's Holt holding the ball up under pressure from 2 Colchester players, turns away from them. The ball then runs for Martin, who ups it onto Houlihan, left-hand edge of the penalty area. Houlihan chips the ball across, and there's no one in a yellow shirt arriving, and Tierney turns the ball behind for a corner.
Decent ball in from Houlihan, but they've got to have players in there attacking. Opposite wide players got to be in there. Holt was doing his best, but he was really the only one. There's a decent ball in from Houlihan, waiting for someone to attack that. I think Matt Donald's about to be introduced.
Cody McDonald is going to come on in a moment for Norwich, but not before this corner is taken. Matt Gill, 55 minutes played. Gill from the right-hand side plays the corner towards the far post. Doherty with a looping header across goal and over the goal, in fact, and behind for a goal kick.
Well, it's clear that the 11 that have started the second half not really made any effect on the game at all. Cody McDonald gets his first taste of league action this season.
The attendance 25,217. You will not see attendances that big very often in League One this season, and they deserve to be rewarded a lot better than they have been by their team this afternoon. They're 5-0 down. Cody McDonald still not on. Play continues. Here's Whaley, but the free kick has been given to Colchester for a foul by Doherty on Platt, as the two of them competed for a high ball. And it's a free kick on this, just inside the Norwich half towards the left-hand side for Colchester, the Essex team. Fox takes the free kick short to Tierney. Tierney plays the ball to Hackney on the left-hand side, level with the Norwich penalty area. Martin back and helping out defensively. Clears the ball away. Here's Baldwin on halfway. High ball up towards the edge of the Norwich penalty area. Nelson heads the ball down. It comes for Drury, the left back. And he clears the ball high upfield, looking for Grant Holt, who's beaten in the air by Conge. Loosen the centre circle, but as has been the case all game, Colchester winning. And out with Ashley Vincent on the right-hand side, one of their signings in the summer from Cheltenham, although he was with Colchester on loan last season. Still Cody McDonald getting ready to come on. Here's Hackney. Colchester on the attack once more. Kevin Lisby on a hat-trick, shoots low, and that one thumps into the advertising hoardings just behind the goal.
Well, it's clearly a corner. Referee giving Norwich a bit of sympathy and giving them the goal kick, but again, just carved through Norwich like a knife through butter.
Double substitution. Not only Cody McDonald, but also Tom Ediemi coming on. This is Ediemi's Norwich City first team debut, and he comes on with his team 5-0 down to Colchester and just over half an hour to go. Chris Martin comes off. Cody McDonald comes on, and now Tom Ediemi for Matt Gill. That's the other change. And well, good luck to Tom Ediemi. I think he's going to be a big player for Norwich this season at 17. That's all he is. He's impressed in pre-season, but this is not the situation in which you want to go on for your first team debut.
No, you're almost apologising to the players having to put them on in this. But Ediemi, young lad, good player, very good prospect. academy lad. I mean, he'll be happy to play under any circumstances, but he'd have probably been hoping for a little bit better than this.
So straight swaps, McDonald up front alongside Holt now, and Adeyemi will go into the midfield for Gill. Houlihan breaks away for Norwich, left hand edge of the penalty area, waiting for support to arrive. Cross comes in, it's charged down. Houlihan will try again from out on that left hand side. Tierney has fouled him there, and that is going to be a free kick for Norwich City, and the two players squaring up to each other afterwards. There was some pushing and shoving, a little bit of nonsense there, and the referee is going to call Tierney over to him. It was over in the far corner in front of where the River End stand and the New South stand meet each other in that corner of the pitch. And we could get our game's first yellow card here for Tierney, not so much for the challenge but for the way he then shoved out at Houlihan afterwards.
Yeah, silly really. I mean, he's fouled him. You need to get involved when you're 5-0 up.
There's the yellow card, and free kick it will be for Norwich from out on that left hand side, level with the Colchester penalty area. Simon Whaley will be given the job of just getting a quality ball into the penalty area. Michael Nelson and Gary Doherty have gone forward. Owen Tudor-Jones in there as well as the attacking players. Whaley takes the free kick now. Grant Holt gets his head to it, but puts it wide of the post.
Decent ball, he's given a corner, I think.
He must have got a...
He's given us something.
I didn't see a deflection in there.
Clearly came off Grant Holt's head, didn't it? Referee must have assumed it. It was a Colchester head, but I don't think anybody in a blue shirt touched that.
Well, even the Norwich players were retreating back towards the halfway line, which is often a good indicator. They didn't think it was a corner, but corner it is on the hour mark. Colchester 5-0 up at Carrow Road. Whaley delivers the corner from the right-hand side. Tudor-Jones with a header, and it's a good save from Williams. First save he's had to make all game. The 6'4" Tudor-Jones with the header. Ball's not out of play yet. Whaley this time crossing from the right. A drilled cross. Oh, Doherty coming in on it. It's headed up in the air by Colchester defender, and Williams just about gathers it under his crossbar.
It's a good header from Tudor-Jones. Fortunately for Williams, it was straight at him. A reaction save, but he didn't have to move his feet at all. Good, powerful header from Tudor-Jones. Just either side of him, it was in, but straight at the keeper.
And Williams then, after making that save, caught the following cross and clears the ball upfield. Michael Nelson controls for Norwich City on his debut. Drury, left-footed ball forward. Holt easily robbed of the ball, and it's played back to Williams, the Colchester goalkeeper. Right-footed clearance from him, high towards the halfway line, where Doherty shoves Lisby in the back as he goes up for a header, and in fact catches him on the back of the head there. And Lisby's gone down clutching his head, and the referee is reaching for his card here. He's gone into his top pocket as Rob Shoebridge, after seeing that thumping challenge from Doherty into the back of the head, really, of Kevin Lisby. And the Norwich City captain getting a long talking to here, and a yellow card as well by the looks of it.
Yeah, free kick. I think Lisby's just about to be substituted as well. That's probably just made it definite now that he's down on the pitch. Vernon waiting to come on for him, and I think it'll be Lisby who comes off.
Felt the full force, didn't he, of Gary Doherty right into his back there, Lisby. Looking a bit groggy as he sits down in the centre circle, but I think his job is done. He's terrorised Norwich once again here this afternoon, scoring 2 goals, the man on loan from Ipswich.
He certainly has.
Colchester have 5.
Him and Platt have, well, they've just been too good for the Norwich defence, simple as that. They've been held by the Norwich players, not doing the jobs anywhere near as good as they should have been, but they pump very well, Lisby and Platt, this afternoon.
And there he goes, Lisby, broad smile on his face. High five with Scott Vernon, his replacement, and on he comes to take the place of Kevin Lisby, who scored twice this afternoon, twice in the first half. Colchester hitting 5 before half-time at Carrow Road to send Norwich fans into a spiralling depression. Ball played forward by Fox into the Norwich penalty area, headed away by Nelson. No, Cody McDonald back helping out inside his own half. Whaley gets possession for Norwich. They are trying the counter-attack here. Whaley and Houlihan, the 2 Norwich wingers, are on the same side of the pitch at the moment, the left. Whaley it is in possession, finds Drury just inside that Colchester half, back again towards Nelson on halfway. Here is Tudor-Jones, who finds Oxemabor in space on this right hand side. Adeyemi makes himself available for the short pass, but Oxemabor tried to find Grant Holt and it was easily cut out. Oh, mistake by Doherty. Vernon chasing down on the ball here, but Nelson's got to the ball first, and the Norwich City defender clears upfield. Tudor-Jones collects. He's come as close as anyone to score for Norwich today. They're still 5-0 down, as they have been since half-time here. Here's Oxemabor on the right-hand side, just inside the Colchester half. Low ball forward. And Colchester clear. And Doherty has to just roll it back towards his own goal, and Nelson has it on the edge of the Norwich penalty area. Colchester, of course, just happy to keep as many players as possible back behind the ball. That's all they need to do. They're 5 up. Doherty. Got Semmelball on this right wing. Infield to Whaley. Whaley infield to Adeyemi. I think it's his first touch for Norwich, and he's given it straight to a Colchester player, cleared away by Colchester, and again Nelson will just knock it back to the goalkeeper Michael Theoklitos. Norwich 0, Colchester 5. You'll be able to join in with us as usual after the game on Canary Call 01603 617 321. As Theoklitos plays it long, headed on then by Holt. McDonald gathers possession for Norwich on the left-hand side. He cuts it, goes for goal from the edge of the penalty area, a low shot which the goalkeeper quite easily gets to.
It's good to see somebody being positive really in a yellow shirt. McDonald just entered the field, just cutting in from that left-hand side, right-footed shot, didn't really get hold of it. It was on target though, just forcing Williams to a save, but positive attitude from McDonald. Nothing to lose really, coming on as a substitute. 5-0 down.
Another one of those clumsy Gary Doherty challenges has given Colchester a free kick, dead centre, just over 25 yards out. He was all over Clive Platt, who has tormented Norwich all afternoon. 2 goals for him, 2 for Lisby, and that free kick from David Fox. 5-0 to Colchester.
A little bit further out than the one he put in the net in the first half.
He's taken this one into the penalty area. Semmelball cuts it out, but the referee is going to book David Fox for taking the free kick too quickly, which is all a bit petty, but a yellow card it is. And strangely, despite being booked, he will get another chance to take this free kick. He's already scored from one of these.
Well, if he's not going to go for goal, just aim for Clive Platt's head, because they say he's terrorised Norwich in the air. 2 options: go for goal or aim for the big man.
Fox with the free kick now, has curled it ambitiously towards goal and swings away in behind comfortably for a goal kick. Another substitution being made by Colchester, so let's have a word with Keith Webb, former Norwich City coach, who's watching this game with us. And Keith, really it's just about restoring pride in the second half for Norwich, isn't it? There's no way back, obviously.
Well, it is, but Norwich are still persistent in playing the same way. They're looking to play the ball round the back, they're looking to play neat little triangles in midfield, but they're not hurting the opposition. I mean, it says something when you're looking at the first shot on target, or the first save the keeper makes is in the 60th minute. I mean, they're not looking to turn the opposition, they're not looking to try and build any momentum, and you know, Colchester are more than comfortable, and that's been the disappointment for me at the moment, that they just haven't tried to change the game plan to try and get themselves back into the game. Even if they win this half 1-0, it'll be something, but you just can't see that happening at the moment.
You certainly can't. Keith, more from you after the game. Norwich 0, Colchester 5, the score on BBC Radio Norfolk, as Grant Holt turns into trouble, and it's cleared away by Colchester. Nelson boots it forward from the back for Norwich, and straight out for a throw-in over on that far side. Norwich 0, Colchester 5. I think there was an offside in there as well against Cody McDonald as the ball was played forward, so instead of the throw-in, it'll come back for the free kick to Colchester. And Brian Gunn, who talked so positively before the game, talked about how he'd assembled a squad he felt that was better than the one that played in the Championship last season. Well, we've seen no evidence of that so far.
Well, chalk and cheese the performances from last week against Wigan, and again, you know, yes, it was a pre-season friendly, and obviously has a big bearing on the way that the opposition are going to play, but you know, there's positive signs there for Norwich. I think everybody would have agreed that, but they've just fallen apart today.
Houlihan for Norwich inside his own half. Whaley is dispossessed, and now the ball just breaks loose to Semmelball on this right hand side for Norwich. In front of him is Houlihan. Houlihan plays the ball infield for Holt into the path of Whaley. Whaley looking for the run of Drury, who's joining in the attack from the left back position for Norwich. Curling cross from Drury. Nobody in the penalty area though for Norwich as the cross comes in. It runs all the way out to Semmelball on the right hand side. Now Houlihan skipping in from the right wing up towards the edge of the penalty area now. Still going Wes Houlihan, just held up at the last moment. Lays the ball back to Whaley on the edge of the penalty area, whose shot is high, wide and not very handsome.
Yeah, I think Colchester have just had enough now, really. It's almost like at Charlton, like I say, they've scored the goals, they've won the game. They won the game an hour ago. Okay, so just saving their energy now for the next game in midweek. Job done.
You'll be able to text us for Canary Call 2, that number 07786 200 951. And during the week as well, there is a message board at bbc.co.uk/Norfolk if you want to have your say on all things Norwich City, and what a lot there is going to be to discuss. We're back with you on Tuesday night, by the way, for our next live football, featuring the Canaries away at Yeovil in the first round of the League Cup. High ball forward there for Norwich. Holt has made it his on the edge of the penalty area. Looked like he was dragged back there to me, and Norwich get a free kick right on the edge of the penalty area for the foul by Okonge. on Holt.
The Colchester player's lucky, really. The referee didn't blow earlier, otherwise he would have had to red card him, because Holt was 1v1 at the last man, and he just held him up, allowed a defender to come round and pull the shirt, but looks like he's got away with nothing at all, just a free kick given.
Just a yard or so outside the penalty area, this one, to the right of centre. Can Norwich City at least get on the score sheet on this opening day of the season? They're 5-0 down, but they have this free kick in front of the river end of Carrow Road. Tudor Jones to the left of the ball, Houlihan to the right of it, Whaley dead straight. Here comes the free kick. Whaley runs towards the ball and drills it straight into the wall. Tudor Jones with a follow-up, shanks his shot well wide of the post.
Sums the day up, doesn't it? Never going to hit the target.
And here comes another change for Colchester. They are bringing on Kem Izzet for Ashley Vincent, and this is Kem Izzet's 300th Colchester appearance. His father, of course, Muzzy Izzet, now fairly long retired, former Leicester and Birmingham player, but Izzet coming on to replace Vincent, who, as is the tradition in these situations, is taking his time to see that the board has his number on, but he trots off and gets a standing ovation from those Colchester supporters. It is party time in the away section at Carrow Road, because they have come to Carrow Road on the opening day and blown Norwich City out of sight. 5 goals in the opening 37 minutes of the game. That's the sorry state of affairs at Carrow Road. And here comes Kem Izzet.
It almost seems like sour grapes to say that they've not deserved a 5-0. They haven't played anything particularly special, Colchester. They've done the jobs. The front two were excellent, I have to say, but Norwich have been their own victims here, the way they've played today.
Goal in the Championship to tell you about. Crystal Palace 1, Plymouth 1, an equaliser on the opening day from Alan Lee for Crystal Palace, who is back in the first team thoughts of Crystal Palace manager Neil Warnock, of course. Palace, one of the teams that Norwich managed to beat in pre-season. Here's Houlihan, high ball forward from the halfway line into the penalty area. Doherty's arriving, heads it down into the penalty area, stabbed away by Colchester. May have been Platt helping out defensively there. I think it was the striker who's caused Norwich so many problems at the other end today. Got Semaborn now, heads it down to Houlihan. High ball forward from him. Holt heads it into the penalty area. McDonald here for Norwich. Cody McDonald with a chance, and he scored a goal. Norwich City on the score sheet. Their first goal of the season is from substitute Cody McDonald. It hardly does anything to restore respectability. There's hardly a celebration from McDonald, just a high five with a couple of his teammates. McDonald has a goal. It's Norwich 1, Colchester 5.
Just done to Colchester what they've done to Norwich all afternoon. Long ball forward. Big target man nods it down to the smaller guy running off him, and he scores a goal. Nothing too complicated about it. I think McDonald's just played his way into the team now with that one touch alone.
Well, he's got a goal, hasn't he? He's shown a bit of spark. Good finish. Only his second goal for the Canaries, of course. Got one on his debut, famously against Cardiff last season, and he's come off the bench here to get Norwich's first goal of the season. The bright sunshine out at Carrow Road right now. Just another 4 in the next 19 minutes, and Norwich will get a point. Theoklitos with a high ball forward from the back, up towards Grant Holt. He's beaten in the air. Tudor Jones trying to wrestle possession back for Norwich City, but couldn't. And it comes for Drury on the left-hand side. A bit of noise inside Carrow Road once more. Drury's long ball. Holt gets a looping header to that one. Goes wide of the post and behind for a goal kick. Norwich 1, Colchester 5 is the score.
And that's where you want Grant Holt doing most of his work. And in the D, just inside the edge of the box, not midway in his own half. You can see you put the ball in the box for him, he's going to compete for it.
Good bit of football sense of humour from the Barclay end. They're chanting we're going to win 6-5. I admire their optimism. 18 minutes to go. Norwich 1, Colchester 5 is the score. And a free kick for Norwich on halfway, which is going to be delivered by Adam Drury. Clive Platt is just being a good old pro there, getting in the way of the ball, making sure that it can't be taken quickly. Drury now does drill the ball forward high, looking for Doherty, who heads the ball into the penalty area. Holt goes down. Tudor Jones in the penalty area. Back to Tom Adeyemi. Drilled shot from Adeyemi. That one flies wide of the post. Good effort, though, from the youngster.
Yeah, good effort. The keeper was beaten, I think. Had that been on target, just a wide yard of the post. Keeper couldn't see it and was badly positioned anyway. Good strike from Adeyemi. Didn't quite find the net like he did against Man United young side.
Yeah, did it against Manchester United, didn't he, in the summer? So why not against Colchester United? But that one just fading away from goal. Charlton lead Wycombe 3-2. One of the other games taking place in the Championship today. Matt mentioned at half-time that Norwich are not bottom because of Gillingham's 5-0 win over Swindon early, but don't forget Southampton are on -10 at the start of the season as well. So that's 2 teams below Norwich. Yeovil 2, Tranmere 0, the latest score coming in from League One. So Yeovil warming up nicely for the visit of Norwich on Tuesdays. The cross comes into the penalty area there. Oh, it goes all the way across the Norwich area. Nelson at full stretch nearly got something on it and nearly turned it towards his own goal, but Colchester unable to capitalise. Our Summerball clears. Colchester looking for a 6th goal. Perkins, the substitute, with that real shock of blonde hair, the little midfield player. Plays the ball into the channel for Platt to run onto. 16 minutes to go. Tackle comes in from Doherty and the ball goes out of play for a throw-in, I think, to Colchester. I think it went that side of the corner flag. Indeed it did. And Perkins throws it to Tierney on this left-hand side. Tierney crosses into the Norwich penalty area, charged down by Whaley. And now, Adeyemi had possession of the ball and actually ran into the referee, and the referee manages to find reason to give Norwich City a free kick there, perhaps feeling a little bit guilty about his tackle on Tom Adeyemi.
I think he was. Good play from Adeyemi. Ran straight into the referee.
Whaley clears a high ball upfield, looking for Cody McDonald, who's at least got Norwich on the score sheet this afternoon.
He's in.
Oh, now Norwich have been caught out here. Vernon from the long ball into the penalty area, looking for Colchester's 6th goal. And Theoklitos makes the save.
One long pass though, Chris, far too easily in behind the Norwich defence. So just a routine ball down the line with a little bit of curl on the ball to take it towards the goal, and the striker's in again.
Yeah, Theoklitos saving from Vernon there. And Cody McDonald caught offside at the other end. 15 minutes left and it's your Canary calls. 01603 617 321. You can text us 07786 200 951. A horrible afternoon, a horrible start to the season if you're a Norwich City supporter. Wind taken out of sails, stuffing knocked out of you, say whatever you like. It's just been horrible. And Colchester stunning Norwich City here, and on the attack end, Perkins on the volley scores number 6 for Colchester. A brilliant goal from the substitute. Route 1 ball forward, headed down into the path of Perkins, who volleyed the ball into the net. Colchester have goal number 6 at Carrow Road. 6-1.
Long ball again, simple again. Just League One football, Chris. Long ball forward, centre forward knocks it down, and there's the grateful recipient volleying the ball over Theoklitos into the corner of the net.
And Colchester have become the first team since Fulham in the Premier League to score 6 goals against Norwich City. But it's worse than that because they've done it in League One and they've done it at Carrow Road on the opening day of the season in front of so many Norwich City supporters.
Just too easy though, far too easy. They haven't been able to deal with Platt all afternoon. He's strong, he's a big lad, and Colchester have played it to full advantage. They've just found him, as we saw then, long ball straight down the middle of the pitch. Nothing at all complicated with it, and he just knocks it down, but people have to pick up runners then, and it's a good strike. It's gone over Theoklitos, who's probably only 4 or 5 yards off his line, but lobbed easily. It didn't go in the top corner, got to say. It's in the middle of the net when it's hit the net. But just far too easy. Platt's been too good for Norwich, and Colchester they've had it so easy today.
Well, they have. It's been embarrassing to be a Norwich City fan this afternoon. Norwich are 6-1 down at home on the opening day of the season against Colchester, and you fear for the rest of the season, don't you, on the evidence of particularly the way Norwich have defended this afternoon?
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, they've not got a prayer. They've got a prayer if they play like that. And like I say, they just look paper thin defensively, and the goalkeeper, 6 goals at home. What more needs saying? And again, no disrespect at all to Colchester, but you wouldn't expect them to be one of the best teams out there. There's certainly going to be more physical teams than Colchester, and you would expect better technical teams than Colchester. And Norwich are going to have to deal with it somehow, otherwise they're going to get this every week.
Drury trying to clear the ball away here for Norwich as Colchester come forward again, as has been the pattern for virtually all of the 90 minutes. Is it the substitute? Puts the ball into the penalty area. It bounces behind for the goal kick for Norwich. And Michael Theoklitos, the goalkeeper, what a nightmare debut for him. Beaten 6 times on his Norwich debut in front of his own supporters. He drives the ball forward right-footed, helped on by Holt up towards McDonald. Tudor Jones nods the ball forward. A Kongai at the back for Colchester here. He clears it upfield. Ball bounces away from Platt. And now it goes out towards that right-hand side for Colchester, and Hammond played through the middle here. Hammond giving chase to it, but it should run through to Theoklitos, the goalkeeper, who takes a touch, knocks it into his penalty area and picks up the ball. Does the Octotos's position come into question? It's got to, hasn't it? He's led in 6 goals.
I think he's in a decent position there, Chris. So whether or not it's his stature, his size, I don't know, because it seems to be lobbed easily. You know, obviously he can't do anything about that, can he? He's as tall as he is tall, and you know, just doesn't really fill the goal somehow. But I don't think there was anything wrong with his position in there. But it was a good strike from Perkins. But like I say, it's hit the centre of the net, the middle of the net.
Well, Semabor's cross from the right-hand side, headed away by Kongai, picked up by Adam Drury. Drury puts it into the penalty area, goes a long way. Colchester should clear it though through Tierney, and they do, and the ball actually stays in play. I think he was trying to play that one out for a throw-in, but it has stayed in play, and Doherty has to come across to this right-hand side for Norwich and play it back to Theoklitos. With 11 minutes to go until Norwich fans can be put out of their misery. Colchester leads 6-1 at Carrow Road. Here's Whaley to Houlihan on halfway. Good skills from Houlihan, and then he's fouled, and Norwich get a free kick just inside that Colchester half. Impossible to find a rational explanation for what's happened today.
Yeah, well, certainly the defending and goalkeeping, there's 2 for you.
But why it should be so bad after everything seemed to be coming to plan. Semafor plays the ball forward.
Offside.
Holt is offside as he brings the ball down. But I mean, just a rational explanation as to how it's gone so wrong when Norwich had seemed to be coming at this in the right manner.
Yeah, it's. I think obviously the goals when they came, quick succession, and the manner in which they came certainly doesn't help. You get players then questioning, is it going to be one of them days? It's turned out beyond one of them days. But as you rightly say, it was the same team bar one player that, okay, pre-season game, we keep repeating it, but looked solid, looked disciplined, didn't look overly troubled, and we've seen nothing of the sorts today.
Tudor Jones halfway inside his own half, beaten to it. Nelson hammers the ball away, picked up. I thought it was going to be picked up by Colchester. They'll just settle for the throw-in over on that far side, which David Fox will just leave for the fullback Beavers to take. Now, I mentioned that Fulham game. I don't remember the last time Norwich conceded 6 goals at Carrow Road. That really must have been a long time ago. Here's Houlihan for Norwich inside his own half, finds Semafor on this right hand side. Semafor with a powerful run forward and then stops midway inside the Colchester half. Infield to Simon Whaley. Whaley up towards Adeyemi. Adeyemi loses that to Perkins, and now Vernon comes forward for Colchester. Tackle from Doherty, the City skipper, and out it goes for a throw-in. 9 minutes to go, and then we'll take your calls with Matt and with Neil. 01603 617 321. Derby 1, Peterborough 1 up in the Championship. Penalty from George Boyd in that game. Lee Croft in the starting lineup for Derby there, we understand.
Well, you just want to get off the pitch now and pretend this never happened. It's just torment now for Norwich.
It really
the
is.
game's over. Colchester they knew they had the points in the bag, like I say, more than an hour ago, and it's just one to forget as quickly as possible.
Yeah, we've had fans on the pitch and everything at Carrow Road today. Here's Doherty. Whaley on this right hand side for Norwich City. Back to John Semafor. Houlihan plays it up to Whaley. Back again to Semafor, who is just inside the Colchester half. Tudor Jones is easily brushed off the ball. Wanted too much time to try and pick the pass, and Colchester just stole it off him. Perkins on this left hand side. Tudor Jones trying to atone for the error. Commits a foul, sliding in on Perkins, and a free kick it is to Colchester, wide on this left hand side. A reminder of those numbers for Canary Call: 01603 617 321. You'll be able to text 07786 200 951 as well. Not going to be a free kick. In fact, they've decided it should be a throw-in to Colchester, halfway inside the Norwich half on this left-hand side. Tierney to take. Looping ball forward from him. Semafor heads it away. Tudor Jones collects on the edge of the penalty area, plays it upfield. Clever play from McDonald to take it past Baldwin initially, but Baldwin, the big defender, tackles him back. But Cody McDonald is persistent, and in the end it takes a Kongai to come across and actually steal the ball off him and help out his partner at the back there. It's with Drury on the left-hand side for Norwich, just into the Colchester half now. Houlihan takes possession from him, plays the ball forward towards Drury on that left. Drury heads it inside. Is it? He has it on the edge of the penalty area. Drury now plays the ball forward to Adeyemi. Great skill from Adeyemi from the angle, and the goalkeeper comes out, charges it down, and behind it goes for a corner.
Clever play, Adeyemi getting forward beyond the strikers into the box. Nice little reverse pass from Drury, and I think he's just tried to dink it over the keeper. Good save for the corner kick.
Corner coming in from that left-hand side for Norwich City, who are 6-1 down at Carrow Road with 6.5 minutes to go. Houlihan with it. Around the penalty spot, and it's Holt who throws himself at it, wins the header, but backpedaling all the time as he made contact with it, and it doesn't really threaten the goal.
Yeah, Cody MacDonald, he gives Norwich something. He has to be in the team, doesn't he? He gives them the pace up front now that they haven't really had today. We just saw it there where he was second favourite to win the ball, didn't stop, giving the defender a problem. And obviously his goal, you would expect him to be in the team now.
Yeah, I think certainly Chris Martin's 2 goals against Wigan last week in that last friendly made up Gunn's mind about who he was going to play up front with Grant Holt. But that mind may just have been changed by Cody MacDonald, who has come on and scored.
Yeah, they have a big squad now. There'll be 11 players worrying for the places now, or should be. I don't think anyone's guaranteed a game, really.
Exactly, they really should be. This has been ridiculously bad from Norwich. 6-1 down at home, with still 5 minutes to go.
I think you put MacDonald in there, Wes Houlihan for me in there, and then you take your pick then for the rest.
Free kick for Colchester, just inside the Norwich half. Played to Fox. He's got space to work with here, midway inside the Norwich half. They're not really closing him down either. Tierney plays it forward to Perkins. Adeyemi gets a foot to it, and that's enough to clear it for Norwich. Grant Holt now plays it into the channel for MacDonald to sprint onto. MacDonald in behind Okinage, into the penalty area. He just turns, MacDonald just loses control of the ball. Then he's pushed over in the penalty area, surely. Well, the referee does not see that as a penalty, and it looked to me as if MacDonald was just shoved off the ball.
It's a foul anywhere else on the pitch, that, Chris. The referee wouldn't hesitate if it was outside the box. It's just one of those inside the box. It's got to be just that little bit more, hasn't it? But it was a clear foul. Just a shame MacDonald didn't get the ball out of his feet, because he outpaced the defenders again. We're just talking about that. He knocked the ball out of his feet, he'd have gone through on goal, but he hesitated, just allowed the defender to come back. But saying that, it was a penalty.
Adeyemi on this left-hand side now for Norwich, the youngster, 17. Where's that? His age on his back. That's his squad number as well, 17. Here's Whaley in the bright sunshine at Carrow Road, scooping the ball forward. Tudor Jones has made a run, but it's been cleared away by Baldwin in the air, and out for a throw-in to Norwich from level with the edge of that Colchester penalty area. 4 minutes to go. Norwich 1, Colchester 6, and that is the score if you're just switching on your radio to BBC Radio Norfolk. Colchester were 5 up at half-time. Back to the football season and League One with a bump for Norwich City. Nelson plays it forward. Drury on the left-hand side. Cuts in, finds Tudor Jones. Right-footed ball forward from him. Houlihan chases it out onto this right wing for Norwich, level with the Colchester penalty area. He cuts in. Houlihan, clever twist and a turn. Houlihan runs into the penalty area and then loses possession to a combination of Perkins and Tierney.
Just one too many. Twisted the defender twice. It was a good opportunity to deliver in the box, and tried one trick too many.
Just when you think that Norwich City can't disappoint you anymore, they come up with an afternoon like this.
I don't think we'll be this disappointed again. I'm going to make a statement now. 6-1 at home. It can't get any worse than that.
I think we were probably saying the same after that Charlton game, though, weren't we? We'll never be this disappointed again. And completely different. It just happened. It's a completely different set of players, and yet, well,
yeah, same set of players, just completely different performances from them, though.
Yeah. And now Holt wins a corner for Norwich, and behind. Then off the Colchester defender. 3 minutes to go. Whaley comes across to take this corner. Former Norwich chairman Roger Mumby, I've just seen, is here today, sitting in the director's box. Probably feeling fairly pleased that he's not in that position he was in at the end of last season after watching this. Whaley takes the corner from the right-hand side towards the far post. There's a header goal was from Holt. I think it actually hit one of his own teammates in the back of the head there. And Colchester just clear it out for a throw-in. And, you can hear a pin drop inside Carrow Road at the moment. And that'll be the case probably until the final whistle goes, when the Norwich supporters will let everybody know what they've made of this. Adeyemi with a high ball forward towards Holt, who's beaten in the air. Tudor Jones collects 25 yards from the Colchester goal. Strong play from him to hold possession. He's caught there, Tudor Jones. Free kick for Norwich in a dangerous area to the left of centre. 25 yards out, but there are only 2 minutes to go, so it almost doesn't matter what they do with this.
No, it's not going to affect what anyone thinks of the performance, that's for sure.
Cody MacDonald looks as if he fancies this one. He's already scored one. Whaley and Houlihan there as well.
I think he's claimed this one. Free shot at goal as a striker. Why not?
Certainly looks that way, doesn't it? Here he comes then, the Norwich City substitute McDonald, having scored one. Oh, clever. Lays it to Nelson, who gets the shot in straight at the goalkeeper.
Yeah, clever play. Nobody picked Nelson up. Unfortunately, he'd have wanted it reversed there, with McDonald in the shooting position rather than Nelson.
Yeah, everyone was waiting for the shot, and it was just rolled into the path of Nelson, who was unmarked, but his shot was saved. Here is Nelson, now in defensive position. Izzet plays the ball through for Fox. Fox wide to Izzet on the right-hand side. Izzet tests Adam Drury here. Drury keeps him away from goal and actually wins a throw-in for Norwich City there. The ball was going to go for a goal kick, but ricocheted back off the corner flag and the other side of it, and that means it's a throw-in rather than a goal kick. We're in the 90th minute of the game, and then you'll hear...
Feels like 4 hours, doesn't it?
It really does. It's been just horrible, hasn't it? There's McDonald, though, for Norwich City, a willing runner, even at 6-1 down. That tackle, though, over on that far side, the left, by a Congai, who plays the ball forward on his Colchester debut. One to remember for him. Now Vernon, one of the Colchester substitutes, lays it out to Platt on that right-hand side. Platt to Izzet. Good challenge comes in from Drury. Hammond on the right-hand side to Izzet. Izzet infield here to Platt. Platt plays back again to Fox and Hammond, who exchange passes, and Hammond, the captain, plays it back out to Platt on that right-hand side. Now Izzet in the Norwich penalty area, goes past Nelson. Theoklitos comes out, but the ball is squeezed to Scott Vernon, and Scott Vernon has scored goal number 7 for Colchester in the 90th minute. He's rubbed salt into the wounds. He really has made this an unbearable opening day of the season for Norwich City. 7 goals for Colchester at Carrow Road on the opening day. Norwich 1, Colchester 7, and as one almost, Norwich City fans rise all over the ground and head for the exits. They've seen enough. Their team have been embarrassed on the opening day.
Oh, it's beyond that. It's beyond that. They've walked the ball in. That one, that's a walk-in. It's a five-a-side goal, as they say. Little passes, 7-8 yard passes, no more. They've just literally walked the ball into the net. And it's just really completed absolute disaster for Norwich.
And Carrow Road emptying as quick as I've ever seen it while there's a game still going on. Norwich, for the first time since they played Blackburn in 1993, have let in 7 goals, and that wasn't in front of their home supporters. This was.
It could have quite easily been 10, Chris. That's what I said to you at half time. Colchester have missed 3 very good chances this second half.
It has been incredible. Never a worse Norwich City performance, even with all the contenders we've had over the last few years. It's difficult to remember.
Well, it's like you say, we thought they'd fallen apart at the seams at the Valley, but that almost makes that seem like a good performance.
Colchester might not be finished yet. Platt's crossed the ball into the penalty area. Semabor is taking his time about dealing with this. In the end, he gets a free kick for a foul by Perkins, and the ball is back with the Norwich goalkeeper Theoklitos, who has let in 7 on his debut. That's 7. Blasted forward by Theoklitos. Holt gets his head down, chases it into the channel on that left-hand side. Out it goes for a throw-in. A lot of explaining to do. I think it's interesting, there's a lot of the police involved in this game are having a bit of a meeting down below us in the tunnel area. There must be some concern that we're going to see more Norwich supporters on the pitch at the end of this game.
I think people have, they've had the hour since the ridiculous start. People just resigned to it now. They've probably all, anybody with any anger now is probably on his way home.
We've had Norwich fans on the pitch here throwing a season ticket at Brian Garner. That was in the first half. It got even worse after that. Norwich City 1, Colchester United 7. Unbelievable.
Well, you feel for the fans. You feel for the fans, don't you? Like I say, it all promised so much, didn't it? Enthusiasm, disappointment, relegation, still there, but thinking, can we put it right early on, and then this.
Indeed. So difficult to get your head around. It really is. Even being here and watching it unfold, it's been incredible. Tierney comes forward for Colchester, who may fancy an 8th. Perkins on the left. Here's Fox, who's been amongst the scorers today, and queuing up to get them for Colchester. Doherty clears it up in the air, really. Norwich fans just want this full-time whistle to go, and we can retire to the pubs and clubs of Norfolk and just try and get their heads around what's happened. But Colchester are coming forward again. It lays the ball off to Platt, who's on a hat-trick. Platt on the edge of the penalty area, lays it off to Hammond, his captain. In comes the cross. Drury charges it down and keeps it from going behind for a corner as well. Drury plays it upfield, and that brings to an end. Well, that's what the Norwich fans think of it. One of the worst performances in Norwich City living memory, and it came just when the Norwich City supporters, who've suffered for so long, had allowed themselves a little bit of hope. Well, that's gone for a Burton. It's been knocked out of them today. What a load of rubbish. A chance from the stands at Carrow Road, and you can't argue with those sentiments, because Norwich have been absolutely humiliated by Colchester United. This is third tier football, and Norwich City were 4th, 5th, even 6th rate today. They were awful, and they've been beaten by 7 goals to 1.